Peace and love, y'all. It's your brother A.D.V.I.S S, and we're here with another episode of What's the Word Wednesday, Season 3, Episode 4. So, as we usually do when we come in, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put our logo. I guess we're going to share that picture right now. Y'all can see that picture while I'm looking for our logo. And then also, we're also going to throw in our comments. Within the comments, we're going to throw in the topics for tonight's show. So, with that, y'all let me know how y'all doing, how y'all feeling, and what's the word. 'Cause we got a lot. I ain't got a lot to really go over, but yeah, man, we all up in here. Well, peace and love to y'all already in here, man. Y'all let me know how y'all doing, how y'all feeling, what's the word. And also, shouts out to all those who are here now, as well as those who are going to be watching this later, whether on Instagram or YouTube. If you are on YouTube, subscribe to your boy at A.D.V.I.S Speaks, because there's going to be more content like this and other different videos put up throughout the week strength. So go over there, subscribe to your boy, help me out, get me up there. We're moving towards 1,000. So please, we're at 400, which I'm grateful for. So let's keep it moving. Let's keep creating this content. But with that, what's going on? I see you up in here. Sincerely knows the truth. What's good, my brother? What's the word? What's the word? So, again, as y'all are coming in, please let me know how y'all doing, how y'all feeling, and what is the word. I'm going to keep saying it. Next, as we wait for more people to come in, for today's episode, we have these topics. First, we're going to be getting into the news portion. So this is going to be the current event section of everything. So we're going to be talking about that in particular with what's going on in the news. If y'all have any news reports, throw them down in the comments and we share those as well. Then second, we're going to get into fasting. This is a very important topic, at least for me. I've used this a lot to help me health-wise, and I just want to speak on fasting, pros, cons, all of those different things. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the importance of resetting your body. And what we mean by resetting the body, we'll find out. But with that, y'all, you know what? A few of y'all's already made your ways in here. So we made those imprints. And shouts out to the brother Sabu Smooth, a.k.a. just Sabu, period. This brother is doing his thing over here on American Song Contest, if I'm for sure. So supports to him and shout outs to him for that big look on NBC, hosted by Snoop Dogg and Kelly Clarkson. And this man is a real dope individual on a guitar, as well as his music. Go check him out too. It's at Sabu, SABYU. But with that, y'all, let's do the show song and let's get this show on the way. If this thing wants to play. There we go. I see y'all, yes. Needing to fast. Appreciate it. Appreciate the love and support. And this is how it goes, though. Learn the song with me. Here we go. What's the word, y'all? What's the word? What's the word, y'all? What's the word? What's the word, y'all? What's the word? Tell it like, what's the word? What's the word? What you heard? We gotta know, yeah, what's the word? Again, peace and love, y'all. It's your brother A.D.V.I.S, and we are here with another episode of What's the Word Wednesday, Season 3, Episode 4. I'm grateful for y'all coming back again for another episode, and this being another season, as we usually do. Again, come in, let me know how y'all doing, how y'all feeling, and what's the word. And for all my folks here too, if you're not subscribed, go check me out on YouTube. I'm doing all my spiel to get it out the way. Right? Now, again, for this episode, we're going to get into these current events. We're going to talk about fasting. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the importance of resetting your body. So this is a very, body-oriented episode. So, we about to body this. All right, I'm done. But with that, y'all, let's go ahead and let's get into these current events. So, for the current events I got for today, if my computer can work with me right now. All right, perfect. I got a few current events again, talking about the updates with different vaccines and other issues, as well as I have a sports update, which I rarely really jump into sports of anything like that. Then a quick update from Ukraine, or a breakdown of now it's been a month into the war, and then Biden addressing something. So that's all the news that I have for today. Again, if y'all have any news reports that you'd like to share, please put them down in the comments. It is greatly appreciated, and thank y'all for your support. Now, let's go ahead and let's start with the first article, which again, for those who do not want to be here for the news portion, not care to hear anything about the news, the regular show will start in another, I say 20-30 minutes. So then you can tap back in later between around 8:30, 8:38, 8:40, and you can go from there. But if you're cool, we're going to do the news. So here we go. You say, I ran out of papers. This dude. Oh my goodness. All right. So first news report comes from NPR, and headline reads, Moderna wants the FDA to authorize its COVID-19 vaccine for kids under 6. So, as we usually do with these articles too, I read 3 paragraphs and they're out. That's the reason why I read the headlines and where I got it from. You can go into NPR, www.npr.com to find this stuff. So, here we go. Moderna is hoping to get the green light to administer pediatric low-dose COVID-19 vaccine for children ages 6 months to under 6 years of age, it said in its statement. The pharmaceutical company will submit a request to the Food and Drug Administration, which is the FDA. Again, like I said to y'all, it's the FDA, in the coming weeks for authorization for a 2-dose, 25 microgram each shot. That's 25% of the first 2 doses of the adults vaccine that was received. And what the company ended up saying was, given the need for a vaccine against COVID-19 in infants and young children, we are working with the U.S. FDA and regulators globally to submit these data as soon as possible. Moderna CEO Stephane, I'm not even too sure, Boncel said in a statement. In the test, the 2 doses were given 28 days apart to 2,500 children ages 6 months to 2, and to 4,200 children with ages 2 to under 6. So you want to know, okay, what is the efficacy of all these shots? So I'm going to just share that, and then we'll move on to the next one. So it says, though the efficacy was 43.7% in children 6 months to 2 years old, and 37.5% in children from 2 to 6, no severe cases of COVID were reported. Pay attention to that. Okay? I'm not going to say any more. But, again, this article comes from NPR. And the headline reads, Moderna wants the FDA to authorize its COVID-19 vaccine for kids under 6. This is my only comment I will say to this, and then we'll leave it at that. Any type of not only medicine, but statistics that fall below 50% effectiveness and efficacy is deemed as Not saying a throwaway, but it's not effective. So it's a fail. So it's interesting that they're still prompting, even though the efficacy of this to protect, quote unquote, is at 43% for infants, and then at 37% for kids from 2 to 6. So all those numbers to me, again, doesn't add up. But again, got him. Boom. This dude. So we're here for the madness. The news is the madness. We're here for it. Yes. I got some papers. Elaborate on what? What do you want me to elaborate on? But that is the article for that one. We're going to move to the next one, but y'all let me know what I need to elaborate on. But again, peace and love to everyone that's up in here. What's going on, Alien Space Queen? I see you in here. That's what's up. Now, next article I'm going to move to. We're still talking about some vaccine talk. Yes, I'm going to do that. We're going to. So, next article comes from CNN, but powered by MSN Microsoft News. And then the headline reads, Pfizer's blood pressure medication recalled over cancer risk concerns. It's the same Pfizer, y'all. The same thing with this company, this pharmaceutical company, that actually put out papers too about all the different findings of the shot that they gave out to folks. I'm not going to say more, but again, y'all can find and look this stuff up, okay? But with that, again, Pfizer blood pressure medication recalled over cancer risk concerns. So we're going to read 3 paragraphs and we're out. So here we go. Pfizer has issued a recall for a high blood pressure medication distributed under 3 names, according to the company. This one is Accurate. Again, I'm going to get these wrongs. Or Accurate, which almost sounds like accurate. And it's 2 generic versions distributed by Greenstone. Quinapril and hydrochlorothiazide, whatever it is. So these words, tablets and quinaquil such HIC tablets are all subject to be recalled. The medication treats hypertension, which increases the risk of potential dangerous cardiovascular events like strokes. The recall is voluntary and stems from the tablets containing higher levels of nitrosamines, which pose a cancer risk. Although Pfizer said in a news release there is no immediate risk to patients taking the medication. The nitrosamines are common in water and foods. Listen, y'all. Listen. You're in this article. Y'all gotta listen. It's littered throughout all this stuff. I'm giving y'all a little info on how I also read news articles. And there's always things that stick out. And you gotta really pay attention to this. So again, it says the nitrosamines are common in water and foods, including cured and grilled meats, dairy products, and vegetables. Everyone is exposed to some level of nitrosamines. These impurities may increase the risk of cancer if people are exposed to them above acceptable levels over long periods of time, Pfizer said in a news release. Oh, this one's actually a short one. Let me finish the rest of it. Let me finish the rest of this. What's going on, MC Slater? If I'm saying it wrong, again, you can look this up. Nitrosamines may be unintentionally introduced when certain chemical reactions are used in the production of medications. The company said it's not aware of any reports of adverse effects resulting from the use of medication and added that the products have a safety profile established over more than 20 years, according to the release. Distributors and wholesalers should stop use and distribution and quarantine the product immediately, the release said. Pfizer recommended that patients taking the medication consult with their doctor about alternative treatment options. High blood pressure is a growing problem. The number of people over 30 with a condition has doubled over the past 30 years, according to a 2021 study. But yeah, good to see you up in here, Slater. I'm just doing the news. I appreciate you, brother, for coming in. I gotta share this. Yes. LOL, I'm cooking. Yeah. But again, y'all, this article, again, comes from CNN, but specifically MSN, powered by Microsoft News. And the headline reads, Pfizer blood pressure medication recalled over cancer risk concerns. So I will just tell y'all this. When y'all read articles, there are keywords that you want to look out for. May, likely, can possess, might not have. There are some of these keywords as well as just key statements. Like again, it says the nitroazimes are common in water and foods. We know about all the other different chemicals and stuff that are in there. Now you know some of the names and how literally you're already being exposed to this stuff. But once you start having a higher concentration of this stuff, not only in your water, not only in your foods, in your dairy products, in your meats, in the air, there's a safety concern. So just want to keep that in mind. That's how you add up on some of these news reports. But right. With that, y'all gonna move to the next one again. If y'all have any news reports or anything you want to share when it comes to the news, please put them in the comments. Now, the next one that I have, especially if you are a sports person, especially in basketball, this comes from the Bleacher Report, and the headline here is NYC mayor expected to lift COVID-19 mandate impacting Kyrie Irving more. So, for folks who was really watching and paying attention, Two News said, what's the name of the last article? I just had it up again. Now you got to make me go back and get the history. That's why I reset it. So it says Pfizer blood pressure medication recalled over cancer risk concerns. So, yes. But, all right. Again, this article I'm talking about now is NYC mayor expected to lift COVID-19 mandate impacting Kyrie Irving more. So, folks who's paying attention to what's going on in sports, there's a situation, again, in New York where Kyrie Irving, basketball player for the Brooklyn Nets, was not able to play on the court because, again, he took the choice to not get the shot. And the thing is, he still was able to be courtside watching his team play throughout the season, but was not allowed to play, even though people are not playing with masks and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, what's going on now is, I heard he's been playing a few games. He done dropped like a career high 60. Again, I'm not too into the sports, but the interesting thing again about that is now the mayor is expecting to lift this COVID-19 mandate. And this is going to have an impact not only on Kyrie, but multiple folks who, again, chose that this wasn't the route for them to do. So let's read it. 2 paragraphs and we're out. All right. Article reads, New York City Mayor Eric Adams reportedly will reverse the private sector vaccine mandate specifically for performers and athletes. So this is only specifically for performers and athletes in New York City on Thursday, according to Sally Goldenberg of Politico. That would mean that the unvaccinated players like Kyrie Irving would once again be eligible to play home games in Brooklyn's Barclays Center just in time for the upcoming NBA playoffs. It would also mean that the unvaccinated players on the New York Yankees and Mets will be eligible to play home games when the MLB season begins in April. This is all I will say, and then we'll be out. New York's private sector vaccine mandate has meant that arena workers and New York-based athletes and performers could not work if they were unvaccinated. However, visiting players are not required to be vaccinated, and the mandate requiring fans to be vaccinated ended on March 7th. So, I'm going to leave it at that. There's more behind it, but I'm not going to speak any more into it. But again, this article came from the Bleacher Report, and the headline reads, Report, NYC Mayor expected to lift COVID-19 mandate impacting Kyrie Irving and more. But that's it, y'all. Let me go ahead. We got 3 more articles, and then we'll be moving to the regular show. But I see y'all are going in on the comments, so peace and love to y'all. So do y'all thing. It says no dairy, no water, no blood pressure meds. Water is life. So you gotta just limit your amount of exposure to a lot of this stuff. So if you look up the word carcinogens or carcinogen, and then you'll get a list of carcinogens, and there's different levels of carcinogens. Most of them letting you know if they're appropriate. And what I mean by appropriate is how much is you're being exposed to it and how much does it have an impact on you. But there's a lot of different products, again, around the world, the US, that have these different levels of carcinogens. Some are even blocked in Europe, but there's a whole list that you can check out and see. But it's basically, carcinogens are basically things that can cause cancer, different products and stuff that can cause cancer, which they're saying is the nitroazoles are also a part of that. Those is another chemical from those reactions. Again, I'm still learning as I'm going too, so I don't know everything, but those are a few things that I've gotten to learn. So, all right. Next article I got comes from the Washington Post, again, powered by Microsoft News. And the headline reads, 4 weeks into Ukraine invasion, evidence points to Russian war crimes, U.S. says. So, let's get into it. Like I said, 3 paragraphs and we are out. I'm not going to do the whole thing because that will take forever because this is a longer article. Right. Let's go ahead. Article reads, U.S. intelligence agencies see concrete evidence of war crimes by Russian troops in Ukraine, the Biden administration said Wednesday, as President Biden arrived in Europe to rally NATO support for ramping up economic and military pressure against Moscow. He said that's a fire MC name or DC villain name. Russia launched fresh missile strikes against residential neighbors in Kyiv and other key cities as the war reached the 4-week mark, while Ukrainian troops pressed ahead with a counter offensive that liberated parts of Markariv. I'm going to do these names terribly. A strategic suburb west of the capital that came under attack by Russian forces 3 weeks ago. The counterattack dealt a blow to Moscow's efforts to encircle Kyiv, but journalists visiting the enclave witnessed savage shelling and said Russian occupiers continued to hold parts of the town. Russian troops have suffered heavy blows and losses in Ukraine, including between 7,000 to 15,000 deaths since the start of the invasion, according to a new estimate by a senior NATO military official. I'm going to leave it there. But the war crimes that's being implemented, again, I'm not sure what they want to say that's happening with it, besides, of course, the shooting of the missiles being one of those things. But that is the update for that. I'm not going to continue anymore. If you want to read more on it, the headline, again, it comes from the Washington Post. And the headline reads, 4 weeks into Ukraine's invasion, evidence points to Russian war crimes, U.S. says. And that's it. So let's see. We got a question up in here. And then I'm going to go to the next article as you're looking at that question. So we see it says, is it required to be vaxxed to got to the dispensary? Great question. I don't smoke, so I don't. I will say this: it's probably dependent, maybe on where you go, because I know a few friends that go to a spot and they don't have it, and they get all of the stuff that they need from the dispensary. So it depends on where you're going. Chris says no, so there it is there. But hold on, Chris. I'm gonna get you in after the fact, because I just want to do the news here. If you have something you want to speak on the news, we'll do that right before we jump into the first topic. Say, Ad is on the natural eye. You being so goofy right now. But right, let's get these two more articles, and then we're going to move on to the regular show. So this next article I wanted to speak on, again, we're getting a worldly view. We got Russia. We got a little bit what's going on with the U.S. I'm not going to keep talking about these dang gas prices, so I'm not going to even worry about that. But this one, again, this comes from NPR, and this is under Asia, so it's happening around in that part. And the headline reads, "A black box from the fatal Chinese plane crash has been located," officials say. So there was also a plane crash that ended up happening a while back. Shouts out to the brother too at the temple. Good to see you up in here, man. What's the word? Let me know how you doing. So there's a plane crash that had happened. This is a short article, so I'm gonna read the whole thing, and it's already gonna tell you. So I'm just gonna just read it. So let's go ahead and let's jump into it. One of the two main black boxes from a Chinese flight that crashed earlier this week have been discovered, investigators say. The flight nosedived into a mountainous area in the Guiwanix province in rural southern China on Monday. There were 132 people on board, and it is assumed all passengers passed on. While Chinese officials still don't know what caused the crash, the finding the so-called black boxes were records which record the activity and the communication on the flight and are actually bright orange. It was a black box. It was bright orange. Could potentially provide some answers. However, the black box that was located appears to be severely damaged, so it is unclear if it will include the CVR, which is the cockpit voice recorder, or the FDR, which is the flight data recorder. Chinese leader Xi Jinping, or I'm saying it wrong completely, whatever, sorry, has ordered a full investigation of the incident. Altitude data shows the plane hit the ground in a near vertical dive. Chinese officials have also said that the three pilots on board had good performance records and stable family conditions, attempting to squash any speculation that the crash was intentional. The crash is likely China's worst airline disaster in 2 decades. So again, they were going to get information from that black box, which ends up being like a very orangish color of basically that information, so you can see what really happened on a plane crash, but we don't know. So I just wanted to share that because, again, there's a lot of things happening outside of the U.S. that we can be aware of and take note of too, but that's just one of the many things. Not trying to bring all the sadness, but just the reality that stuff like this is happening. Now, last thing I got for y'all, and it's back again to all of the shot stuff, and this is how we're going to end it and we'll move on. So this article comes from CNN Politics, and the headline reads, "Biden administration warns second COVID-19 boosters won't be readily available to general public without congressional funding." So we'll see what that is going on and what that means, because we, for some reason, got a lot of money right now being able to send out relief to other folks, send out relief to Ukraine, and not fix situations here. But again, don't get on me CNN, or I should say, don't get on me YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all those places. I'm reporting what is being said from CNN, NPR, Microsoft News, all these other different places. So if you want to get on somebody, get on those. I'm just reading the articles. Right. Let's go ahead. Let's jump into this article. 3 paragraphs and we're out. Article reads, the Biden administration warned Wednesday that the second COVID-19 vaccine booster shots or a new type of vaccine is needed, will not be free and readily available to the general public if and when they are authorized without an additional funding from the Congress. There will, however, be enough supply for seniors and immunocompromised Americans. We do have sufficient current inventory of vaccines both at the state and pharmacies and other access points around the country, and in our central inventory for fourth doses if they are called for this spring. For our most vulnerable, including seniors, White House COVID-19 response coordinator Jeff Zients said in response to a question from CNN during Wednesday's briefing. I'm going to just use this last one and we're going to finish it there. Dr. Anthony Fauci, President Joe Biden's chief medical advisor, which I would say y'all look into Anthony Fauci, learn about him for multiple reasons, suggested that second boosters could be authorized by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, for the general public towards the beginning of the fall or the end of summer, though he said a second booster could be authorized for a smaller subset, perhaps elderly Americans, in coming weeks. I'll leave it there. But that's the last article I have for y'all. Again, you have your choices. You choose what you want to end up choosing. This is where folks need to respect when people want to get it shots or they don't want to get the shots. Learn why. Do all that you need to do to keep yourself safe, whether it's the testing, whether it's still, of course, putting the mask on, even though over here in Cali, now it's optional, is just highly recommended, but still 6 feet, washing hands, just literally taking care of yourself and taking care of people around you. Just do your part in that particular way, okay? But again, like I said, just be mindful of also what's put out there. Learn more about what's going on with a lot of this stuff, and just don't readily just take things just because they're out there and available. Please use your critical mind. Think for yourself. Don't think with the wave and the herd, so you won't be heard. Right. With that, y'all, that's all the articles I got. That's all the news I have. If y'all have any news, please let me know. And Criss, let me know if you're ready to come on, because then I'll let you come on if you have any news, or we're just gonna jump into the next topic to check in with you. But yeah, he said I got mine, not with it, but I believe God is looking after me. Again, you do what you need to end up doing to keep yourself healthy and keep yourself straight. Looking at all these comments from the back, so let's see. All right, for sure. I'm gonna bring you in, Criss. That's a good question. I mean, when are you gonna be chicken and beef? But for sure.
A.D.V.I.S.
What's going on, Criss? What's the word?
A.D.V.I.S. How you been?
Busy. I'm not gonna even lie to you. I'm a little
Good.
tired, but we keeping it
Okay.
pushing because I'm gonna
Stay
sleep
moving.
well.
Ride it till the wheels fall off, right?
Nah, I'm not going right until the wheels fall off. I'm gonna make sure I do maintenance. I stop and take some breaks so I don't lose my breaks.
Well, that just means till the end of the ride, but yeah, I get you. So, um, what was the date on the last article?
Which one are you talking about?
The very last one you just read.
Okay, the last article.
About the second dose, because if it's second dose, then we are officially behind. Because
No,
I
not second dose. This is the booster
the
shot. So this
booster,
will
yeah,
be
the
the
second.
fourth.
Okay, so number four. Okay. I was gonna say
This
because then
is
we're
it's March
behind.
20. It's today. It's dated for today.
Gotcha. Okay,
It's March
because
23rd, 2022.
gotcha. I listened to Russell Brand, And
Oh yeah.
I like his style of basically breaking down articles the same way that you do.
Yeah.
And he gets a lot of his sources from, of course, like American media, British journals, you know,
Yes.
scientific journals and stuff like that. And I don't remember the references from the last episode I watched,
Yeah.
but it seems like at least in the UK and Britain, they are at the point where they're kind of like backing off on that second booster
Yeah.
because it conflicts with natural immunity. So a
Yeah.
lot of the scientists and doctors are kind of like, well, if you've got, you know, 2 to 3, you should be good because, you know, you want to let the body do what it, you know, naturally does, and you don't want to over
Yes.
pump it with other
Yes.
things. So, okay. So when you said
Yeah.
second, I was like, 2, are we behind? Like,
Yeah.
I was
No.
like, the
No.
rest
No.
of
No.
the
No. No.
world
Yeah.
surpassed us. So I was like, oh, okay, gotta clarify that. And then
Yes.
also with this thing about the Ukraine and Russia, man, it is so deep, and I love how
Yeah.
we're just so ignorant to the actual facts of like what's actually going on. And
Yeah.
just briefly, because I don't know if you've already talked about it, like, but the
Yeah.
actual history of like why this is not like something new. It's not like out of the blue.
Yeah.
Apparently, in Ukraine, do they have ministers or presidents? I don't know, but their leadership, the last guy before, you know, they removed him,
Yeah.
that they did remove their last leader, he was making deals with Putin,
Yeah.
so already setting forth um, things in play. So then they removed
Mm-hmm.
him, which stopped those deals, right?
Yes.
So of course, you know, this sociopath, you know, psychopath is like pissed off. uh, you know, it just kind of makes sense because for years, you know, there were plans in the work.
What's up, Kundan?
And then you have America over here, which we love pretending to be the good guys. I love that. Like, we're so,
Yes.
hey guys, how you doing? What you need? Let's set up shop here, get some corporations going. Let's
Yeah.
let's bring your dollar over here to their side, and let's set up shop here. Which is also like kind of like a nanny boo boo, like in Putin's
Mm-hmm.
face. You know what I mean? So I mean, I just it's unfortunate that like lives are literally at stake here, but like when you look at like the moves, when you look at what's really like going on, it's kind of like, really? So we just all acting really shady and just pretending, just throwing on a smile and saying like, "Oh no, we're gonna help you," but not really. Like, I don't know. So I just thought those were interesting because you brought it up, and
Yeah.
I've been like doing my own like diving into the news. It's very depressing, but it's also kind of like, man, I could see the plot, and
Yeah.
if it's that apparent, I'm pretty sure we should be waking up by now. Like, all of us should be waking
Yeah.
up by now, and I don't know, taking more control. I don't know. You get more done with the masses, but we just seem to all be asleep or have the feelings of like, well, you know, it's not our fight, when realistically it is. Our government has made it our fight,
Yeah.
you know, from the beginning. You know, when this goes back to the Cold War, you know what I mean? Like, so it's nothing new. None of
Mm-hmm.
this is
Yeah.
new. It's a continuation, and yeah, we need to get active. Like, we need to get active and do something.
I'm.
So
I'll
yeah,
say this. I'll say this. All is fair in love and
in
war.
love and war.
All is fair. As well as, again, like you said, this is nothing new. What's going on,
Mm-hmm.
Kundan? What's the word?
Hey, Kundan, are you gonna hop
So
in?
nothing is new,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of this stuff too is, again, we say so much, is you got to be able to follow the money. A lot of these things start
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they continue to push
Because of
because of money things
reasons.
happening. When you start
Mm-hmm.
shutting people out of money and things of the sorts, you see these sanctions, you see what's happening.
Yeah.
I just found
Mm-hmm.
out um that also Kanye West also has been sanctioned in a way too. I don't even know what he's been doing for
He's
that to
been
happen, but yeah,
sanctioned by our country.
where he's literally economically he's being it gets sanctioned and silenced. So I don't know. I have to look more into it. I saw a video
Yeah,
and that was giving some updates on it, but again with me, I don't always keep up with
yeah.
folks like that always, but that was something that popped out to me because we talk about sanctions, especially what's going on with Putin and Russia. But
Hmm. That's
again, a lot of
interesting.
this stuff
They
is not
need to
new.
leave that man alone, honestly.
Ain't nothing new. But
Right.
with that, thank you, Chris. I appreciate you for sharing that bits and piece on the current events. But with that, y'all, we're gonna move to the next topic for tonight. So, Kundan, now we're moving to the next topic, which we're gonna be talking about fasting. Okay?
Mm.
And there's many different methods we can talk about fasting. I'm gonna talk about a few that I know of, and I got a few pulled up to also talk about, as well
Hmm.
as the whole. Again, we're doing different types. Also, the whole concept of fasting, of why why it's even needed, as well as the pros and cons when it comes to it. Again, all of the stuff that we getting in, just a little small deep dive into fasting, y'all. But yeah, let's see. Cooney also said Trump's been sanctioned too. Basically, his Russian assets. Oh,
Well, that, yeah. Hmm. Yes.
cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Good.
At this point, I'm like cool. I'm
Good.
like cool. The other
Good.
point I was gonna say too is that's what Sleepy Joe does. He puts people back to sleep. That's what happened when we put him back in office. Now we all back asleep. A lot of people aren't willing to go out there and advocate for change things and stuff because they're like, oh, he
Yeah.
got it now. Him and
Well, it's the
Kamala.
it's the falseness of like, oh, good, we're in a democracy again. But it's like, no, we're not. It's a trade-off. When there's a Republican in office, Democrats get to do all their moves. When there's a Democrat in office, that's when the Republicans get to do their moves. It's not,
That's why it's
it's
still a
not as
democratic
simple.
republic.
It's a republic.
It's a democratic republic.
But if
No,
the
that's what.
votes
No, if
don't
you want to look
count,
it up, if you want to
right? I
look it,
know,
if you
but
want
if
to
the
look it
votes
up,
don't
that's
count,
what
is
it
it still a
says.
democracy? Like, that's just
Oh,
me.
it
Like,
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And that's a whole
yeah,
different thing. We might just have to talk about that in a whole nother different
a
episode
whole nother
of
episode.
voting. But like, yes. With that, y'all, let's go ahead. Let's get into the topic of fasting before we fast approach somewhere else.
Oh
Um,
yeah, 2 hours
but yeah.
later.
So again, if anybody else also wants to come on, this is the disclaimer. Chris, I know you already know Chris, but the disclaimer is if you want to come on and speak and be on live and have discussion as well too, this does stay on Instagram and YouTube. So if you're not comfortable again with being seen, then it's okay. You stay in the comments, but if you do come on, just know that this will be out there. Now that is the disclosure and your warning.
Ooh,
Uh,
ooh, read what Kundan said
it said,
real quick.
we have never been in a democracy. It's a distributed. Me and Kundin already have talked about this. Me and him, we have
Yeah.
the green book that we've talked about. Literally, we have articles that are honestly not articles, but scholarly journals that
Hmm.
Kundin sent me that I've gotten at least somewhat to look into. So we are, I mean, with me and Kundin, we already know this. But for everyone else, yeah, it never was. That's just the whole setup again. So oligarchy. You want to look this stuff up? You want to look
Yeah.
up what an
Hmm.
oligarchy is? Look up an oligarchy.
Oh,
Like,
poli sci 2013. No.
but yeah.
Taking me way back.
Right. But with that, first, let's go ahead. Let's go again. Let's get into this topic of
Fasting,
fasting.
intermittent,
There is one of those. So
religious.
before we do that, before we do all of that, you just start naming stuff. For some folks, give me a definition of what fasting is. So of
Oh,
course
yes.
we're going to go to the handy dandy, you know,
Merriam-Webster.
oh, that's the one that you do. So now, people, y'all know who I'm talking about when I say Chris. Every time I'm talking about looking up these words, this
Merriam-Webster.
is Chris. Chris is telling me this. All right. So let's get into this because I had actually grabbed it from Webster's, but let's go ahead and let's get it from there. So fasting, it says, I quote from here, of are taken from a fasting subject which I don't know what, but okay. Occurring from or caused by fasting. Those are the
Mhm.
definitions that it gives for a fast. But if I look up
Wait,
the word fast,
where was that?
that's from Webster's.
That's from
No,
I
yeah,
was not
that's from
I was
Webster's.
not satisfied with those. You can't
Yeah.
use in your definition. Like
That's I know
anyway.
that's one on
Yes.
one for sure. We know that. We know that for sure. So,
Right.
this is the
No.
fast that we're gonna look up. We're gonna look up
What's
the
up,
word
guys?
fast, and the
Fast.
fast,
Okay.
the verb just fast. It means to abstain from food. Second one,
Mhm.
to eat sparingly or abstain from some foods. Then
Mhm.
the fast that's a noun. What's going on, Cuzzo? Good to see you in here. Is the practice of fasting. Again, they're using the word
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
a time of fasting.
Mhm. Mhm.
So if y'all just don't know, basically it's to abstain from food. Some people do from liquids for a certain period
Mhm.
of time. And most of the time it's done, of course, to have some type of different effects on the body. So now when it comes to that, and
Mhm.
shouts out to you. Good to see you up in here, Notes. I'm sorry to say anything. I was in here getting the
Oh no, it's
definition.
okay.
But
It's all good.
what's the word, brother?
Nothing much. Just got done eating dinner. Eating me some two mandarins right now. On
Gotcha.
Ooh.
YouTube right now. I'm finna go live on Twitch right now.
Again?
Oh.
Yeah, I've been going live a lot lately. I really want to be a Twitch affiliate.
Yeah, keep doing it. You got that. And let's see, Kundan said, I was so convinced to do fasting when I discovered the relationship between the
Mhm.
digestion rate of various foods and their water content. Yes.
Mhm.
I don't know
Mhm.
much about the water content part, but the digestion rates of various foods, I do at least gotten to know some different types of those foods. That's why I don't eat certain ones anymore now because of that. Um, with that,
Wait,
Banana
go ahead,
chips.
Chris. Go ahead, Chris. Not with the and chips. Now go ahead. Go ahead, Chris. All right, so we're gonna say let's go ahead and let's name some different
Inter
types of
inter
fasting.
intermediate fasting. How do
yes,
you say it? No, I don't know how to.
Intermediate,
I don't know how to say it anymore. And then there's like the religious
intermediate fasting.
fasting.
intermediate
Yeah. And
fasting.
then
Mm-hmm.
the religious kind where you don't eat because your God told you not to. And then
Oh, you.
there's the uh, and then there's just like the short fasting, like for when you have to get like blood work done. I forgot what that one is called, like when there it's for
Okay.
medical
It's
reasons.
probably something like
Yeah, it's
diagnostic
called
fasting.
intermittent fasting. Let me put it in the comments. Yeah, that's what I
Ah,
do actually,
thank you.
intermittent fasting. Yeah.
It's like
So
what,
it's like
eight
I
to twelve
do like
hours?
16,
Oh, you
well,
just
I
do
do
okay.
like 14 to 16 hour intermittent fasting is what I do
Mm,
usually. Uh, yeah.
So let's
So
see what
sometimes
we're
12
gonna.
to, yeah, because it has to do with the water content, right? And that's what makes it flexible for me. Like I don't have a very strict fixed one. I have a range, right?
mhm,
Because it's about the water content. And different foods have different digestion rates depending on the water content. And that's the reason why you fast. That's the actual reason. And let me explain,
mm,
right? I learned this from an Ayurveda video, but it's also based on science as well. It's based on both Hindu science and Western science. So what it is that, for example, fruits and berries have a lot of water in them, so they digest quickly. They digest in about 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then vegetables have a lower water content, still kind of high, especially the green leaves, right? So they digest at a rate of about 6 hours. And of course, it does vary among each individual, but these are averages, right?
Yeah.
And then grains and lentils,
Yeah.
they have so little water that they take about 18 hours to digest.
Mm.
And then meat and poultry, right? They take 20 to 30 hours to digest.
Mm.
And they also rot, right? Because it's a live thing, right?
Yeah.
Uh, So what happens is that when you eat too much, actually it's not so much about eating too much, is you can even eat a little at a time, but when you don't give the stomach a break, right? What happens is that it doesn't give your stomach acids, your enzymes time to catch up.
Yes.
So what happens is some foods remain undigested and they rot. And there's a
Mm-hmm.
literal graveyard in your stomach, and which attracts, uh, well, actually, it's not so much that it attracts, it imbalances your microbiome,
Yeah.
right? Because your microbiome already has about 60 trillion bacteria, and now they've also discovered the virum, which is 6 times. So there are 360 trillion viruses in your stomach already, in your body, right? But they're living in perfect coexistence until you mess it up. When one of the ways to mess it up is to give your stomach and kidneys and livers, right? Because they do the detoxification,
Yes.
too much work.
Yes.
And that's the real reason why uh, we do the intermittent fasting. It gives the stomach a break, right? And that's why I have it be arranged, because some days if I eat too much grains, then I might fast longer, and I might also drink more water that day because I would need more water to balance out the grains with just little water.
Yes.
But if some days I eat less grains and I eat more fruits and vegetables, then on those days, then I can fast less. So that's why for me it's a range. And especially with the grains, I make sure that uh, even within the fasting regimen, I put another layer to it where I make sure that between eating grains today and the next day, there's an 18-hour break between the time that I take grains each day.
Mm.
So that's another layer that I put. And of course, I'm vegan. I don't eat meat anyway, so I don't have to worry about that. But for those who eat meat, you can still eat meat, but you might want to take that 20 to 30-hour break like I do with the grains. So that's my suggestion for that. Yeah.
Boy, if you don't with all these questions in here, chicken and beef, your name, chicken and beef. So you need to watch it with the. I'm just playing, but thank you for sharing that, Kunda. And yeah, I definitely do very similar things when it comes to intermittent fasting. At times, I haven't necessarily been doing it as of late, and I know my body is craving for me to do so with that. But that's
Mm-hmm.
one of many other different types of fasting, and of course, I'm gonna let other folks come in and y'all share
Anybody
also
ask
too
about
of their
digestion
own
rate of
different types of
M&Ms?
fasting. But and I know notes. Put on some headphones or something. People trying to see the top of your head. All
Oh, my
right,
bad.
see the top of your head. But here, I'm gonna give y'all a few other different types of fastings, and then we'll continue to go on and talk more into it. But Criss, the one earlier that you were talking about for medical procedures is called, and I said earlier it was diagnostic fasting.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's usually
Yeah.
Diagnostic fasting.
yeah.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. Sorry. Can you guys
Oh yeah, yeah, you do that. Yeah.
can
Yeah.
you guys hear my
For like
TV?
the blood work, like when they
Yes.
make you.
Yeah.
That's to make sure
No,
that it
you're
doesn't
good. You're good.
interfere,
Oh, I
that the
can't
food
hear
doesn't interfere with the diagnosis. So you
with the.
clear it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. The second one is a dry fast. So a
A
dry
dry
fast,
fast.
in particular, is involves you not eating or drinking
Mm-hmm.
anything during your fasting period. Again,
Mm,
and this depends on again your ability to fast. So I would never tell anybody who's starting off fasting to do a dry fast, because then you will definitely shock your
mm,
body, as well as for some folks,
mhm,
especially
Mm-hmm.
if you have other different medical conditions and health concerns, you definitely
Mm-hmm.
want to talk to your doctor, your physician, whoever it is, so then you would know what is an appropriate, fasting method for you. Which for me, the first one to start off with doing, of course, is intermittent fasting, but not that it doesn't have to be the
Mm-hmm.
extensive. It can be, you can do a 10 and a 14. Because I'm gonna tell you this now: when we sleep, technically, especially if you've let the food digest in your body
Okay.
beforehand, when you sleep, you already are doing a form of fasting, even though it's healing itself.
Yes.
Yep.
So just
Break
adding another
fast. That's
2
what
hours,
breakfast is.
you break your fast. Yes. I know you was waiting for that. You was waiting for that. You already know. But we're going to do that. But that's what a dry fast is. It's literally going with no food, no water, no nothing. And for some folks, it works. I've heard some people that do dry fast, and it works well for them. Again, for other folks, work your way to it. The second one, which is one that I typically do because it's easier for me to do, is a liquid or a water fast. And basically, in itself, is either you're drinking some type of liquid or you're just drinking water throughout that. Another name for this would be a cleanse. So you can go on different types of master cleanses where they have their different setups of how you can, you know, use it for help activate certain parts in your body to clean better. You can use lemons, you know, use different types of spices and herbs that you can put within your water, your liquid, to
Cayenne
help do
pepper.
some. Yeah, cayenne pepper. I know that's the main one I was trying to think in my head. I always got cayenne pepper in the cupboard, so it's always there. But those are other different ways. Again, if you don't
In
want to
the
just do
cupboard.
straight up water, like I like to just do straight up water, you can do that again with the liquid fast. So that's another one. The next one after that is a step up from it, and it's a juice fast. So I mean, you just juice it. Whether if you're juicing your veggies, you're juicing your fruits and all of that stuff, and you only just drink those juices. Shouts out to the late and great ancestor Dick Gregory, because this is one person I knew about that did a lot of juice fast, and I just recently got a book of his, which is talking about all of this stuff. Let me grab it real quick while I see all of these questions is going on right now. But let me grab it so I can share it and have the title just right. While I put these headphones back on. But it's hard to see. But basically, it's Dick Gregory's natural diet for folks who eat. And I haven't got to read it just yet, but just again, like I said, I know a little bit about Dick Gregory, and there was a point in time where Dick Gregory ended up going on a hunger strike for when the war was happening during this time. And the funny thing is that since he went on that hunger strike, it was almost up to 4 years that he didn't eat anything solid, and he literally was on juice. That's all he drank was just different juices. So I'm all for, again, not doing that super extreme to like 4 years you only drinking juices. But again, it's another way for you to get your fasting in. And it all depends on how you want to, again, start. If you've already used to fasting, then I mean, you could do multiple more days, or you can do in betweens, which another method is the 5-2 fasting method. So that means you can literally, for 5 days, you're not fasting, and then the other 2 days you do fast. And then you can also do alternating between the 7 days. But again, you find out methods what works for you. Another type of fast is called a partial fast, which basically, depending on how, again, throughout the day you want to end up doing this, that you'll partially end up deciding, okay, I'm going to eat at this point right now, and then the rest of the day, I'm not going to eat anymore. It's almost similar to intermittent, but the partial fasting is that at any point of the day that you didn't eat anything too heavy, you can break your fast. So it's just another way to, again, to lead up to it. Then, of course, the one that's already talked about is the intermittent fasting, which, again, some people do 16, 8. Others, you got Kundan sometimes can do between that 14 to 16, maybe even 18. So it's within a 24-hour period and window that you would end up not eating anything. You can still drink water and any other liquids if you want, but most of the time you're just nothing. The next one I talked about, the alternative day fasting. So if you fast on one day for the 24 hours, then the next day you'll come back and eat, et cetera, back and forth that particular way. Another one is extended fasting. This is beyond 48 hours. So this is multiple days in a row, or some people go, there's 10-day fast. There's a whole week fast. I've seen some folks do a 21-day fast. But again, this is as you get used to fasting, which we're going to talk about why would you even want to fast in the first place. We're just going through the different types. I just wanted to share. And then the last one, which is called the ketogenic fast, which honestly, you kind of already do somewhat of this when you're fasting already. So if folks don't know, when you fast and your body's trying to figure out where it's going to get its energy, especially if you're not putting any type of solids, but you're only doing liquids, is that you put your body in a state of what you will call ketosis. And what that basically does is your body is looking for energy from either, your muscles, the fats, and there's another one I keep on forgetting within your body that it will target. And for some folks going through this cycle of ketosis, again, it can help with working out, again, cleaning things out and letting your body know to where to grab these energy reserves from. So, I mean, I'll talk about some of my experiences of fasting, but again, these are only a few of what all these different types of fasting are. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna jump into either some stories or
Somebody's asking me a
why.
question. The
Go ahead.
digestion rate of M&Ms. So that is more like
Why is you
complex,
so
right?
really chicken and beef? But go ahead. Go ahead.
So let me address that. So because she kept asking, it's like 3 or 4 times already. So, uh, so that's more complex, right? Because in general, like what I've read in a lot of books, especially the one that I recommended, A.D.V.I.S.S, How to End Diseases, M&Ms would count as processed food. So in
Mm-hmm.
general, it is best to just be avoided, but but also don't make it like into a sort of paranoid mania kind of thing. Where if you do like eat it, sometimes have compassion for yourself and just try to do something that might balance it out, like taking some digestive enzymes, eating probiotics, drinking more water than usual. Like try to like balance it out with
Kombucha.
like kombucha, yeah. Yeah, it's like balance it out with something else that's healthy, because besides all the inflammatory effects of processed food, M&Ms in particular are also candy, and therefore they'll give you a sugar rush, especially since you took it at night. So you might not be able to sleep because you're gonna have a sugar rush, and then you'll have a crash, like more at like 5 in the morning, like which would reverse things for you, because in reality you're supposed to have high energy in the morning and then low energy at night. That's why
Cortisol.
that's why I even do the cortisol differential, where I make sure that my cortisol is high in the morning by doing something that might raise it, like like doing exercise or dance, and then at night I do something relaxing. So yeah, like try to balance it out and have compassion for yourself.
This boy, I swear, yes. No, thank you for sharing that. He's gonna keep being goofy as he usually does because he brings in the goofiness, but of course, but we're not gonna talk about that type of fast, my G. Okay, we for those who are in low income and struggling communities at times, yes, we know about that type of fast, but
What
yes.
kind of fast? I can't see the
Yeah,
comment.
My goodness, they're gonna
just
make me
peel
talk.
being pig,
It's the poverty fast. Like no, like we're over
Oh,
here being goofy.
gotcha.
but not
But
yeah.
but
And
again,
also, of course, I wouldn't recommend intermittent fasting to people who've had like a history of eating disorders like anorexia or bulimia or things like that. So that disclaimer should be just like understood,
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
again, we are
yeah,
not health officials. We're not doctors in any way,
exactly.
shape, or form. So anything that we talk about when it comes to this topic of fasting, just
Mm-hmm,
know that
Theory.
we, again, at your own risk, but please go talk to your
mm-hmm,
local doctor and physician for recommendations.
exactly.
We're speaking
Yeah.
on our experiences, okay? Hey, I gotta do so many
Mm-hmm.
disclaimers, man. I just want to talk about information. We got disclaimers and stuff, but it's all good.
That's how I felt on my
Yeah.
podcast when my friends were
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, that was a good topic, but you should put a disclaimer in the front because you don't know who you might like trigger." I'm like,
Which I
okay.
actually, which randomly, look, all right, randomly speaking about that, and we'll jump back into fasting. There's actually been some articles that came out and said that actually does the opposite effect of you putting a
Mm.
Mm,
disclaimer in certain places. It actually already makes people get to that point where they was triggered, even if
That's
it's
what I was
not even
thinking.
triggering in the
Mhm.
video
Oh,
itself.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really it's a double-edged sword, but at the end of the day,
Always.
for things like this, it's just like more so like if you're gonna go do something, go recommend somebody who knows what they're talking about. But
Mhm.
this is where we're gonna talk about today. Again, this is all about learning a bit about the body. So hopefully you'll get some keys in to learn about your body, because then you can become your own expert of your body and have the outside resources to be able to go back and double check with stuff.
Right.
So
Because it's your body.
yeah. Nobody. All these freaking bodies. But with that, let's talk about like why. Why would anybody want to end up going on a fast? Like, why do we want to abstain from eating food? Food is so good and delicious. It's great. Like, why would you want to stop eating and doing that? Why?
Mhm.
It's a lot of reasons.
Yeah, it's interesting too because it's in so many like cultures and religions, right?
Yes.
Like
Mhm.
even Christians have Lent,
Yep.
Muslims
Ramadan.
have Ramadan. You know, they have their fast
Eid
and
Akbar.
their Eid Akbar.
Mm-hmm.
Hindus have our Ayurvedic fasting thing that we do. Uh, in fact, when I was younger, on the full moon, we would fast for the whole day, and then in the afternoon, we would do a whole puja ritual thing, and then we would break the fast afterwards. So, and yeah, in fact, Buddhists and Hindus also have specific days that they fast as well, like depending on the region and stuff. Also, it's a way of making offerings to our deities, things like that.
Mhm.
So it's interesting that it's so like interwoven
Mm-hmm.
into the culture, which shows that they all knew that there's some importance to that. You know,
Yes.
even if Western science or scientism, as I sometimes like to call it, can come along to
Verify it. Mm-hmm.
validate and confirm what doesn't even need validating, since we've had our own validation for thousands of years. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. And just like the brother put in here, yeah, I mean, and in the Bible, you can find multiple examples of this, of different type of fasts.
Mm-hmm.
When Jesus went into the wilderness and fasted
Mm-hmm.
for
Mhm.
40 days and 40 nights. I'm not going to say be doing all of that for super long, but again, there's the importance of fasting throughout, again, all cultures. Like as Kundan was speaking on earlier, he said, my man's nose got a new haircut. Yeah. He over here on some whole other different stuff. We might have to be like, yo, what is he going on doing? But he on Twitch. He's on Twitch right now. He trying to multitask, y'all. So anybody who's gonna watch this later wondering why the dude over on the other side is not talking, that sincerely knows the truth. And he's over here trying to multitask stuff. So he's just a part of just listening in on the show. So we're good. But again, now we're asking. We know that there's he about to get right up in here now.
Actually, I've been wanting to say something, but I'm just letting y'all talk. Like, yeah, I've
I'm
been wanting
letting
to
the
say.
viewers. I'm letting the viewers know because they're gonna be like, "Why
Oh,
is he looking the other way?" That's
oh,
why.
'cause I was
I'm
That's
just
talking
his
about the
helping them.
Notez.
pose.
There's no
That's his
shoot. There's no
pose.
shooting on you. I'm
He
like
Oh,
always
giving
it's
does
a
the
cold
side
confirmation.
pose. My
profile.
bad.
He does the
Yeah.
side profile
My
every
Yeah.
bad.
time.
Yeah, nah, cause then I'm gonna
That's his
get we gonna get
signature.
comments. We gonna get comments on Instagram and YouTube, and people watch this later and be like, "Why is the dude over there just looking on the other side, not saying anything? Like,
That's
what is
his
he
good
in there
side.
for?"
That's
See,
So
why.
that's all I'm doing.
Right.
That's all I'm doing.
That's
But
his
I
but
mean, but
profile.
all right, what you got to say, brother?
but the reason. Okay, so this is the reason what when I started intermediate fasting, I started for like to like just losing weight purposes. So the way I do it is, my last meal is around like 8. But
Mm.
when I
Mm-hmm.
when I was doing it, like, let me see, what's that word? Um, fluently. There we go.
Okay.
When I was doing it fluently, my last meal was at 6, and then I
Mm.
just drink, I drink water and stuff like that, and then like when I used to get super hungry, I used to tell myself like, look, I'm not really hungry. You know, I start
Mhm.
reading. I'll start reading the Bible. Like, shout out to my great grandma. She's not here anymore, but she used to tell me like, she's like, when you're feeling like that, like read and pray and write. So what I used to do, I used to like write poetry. Like it'd be like I wake up like 2 in the morning, like 3 in the morning sometime. Now I literally just start writing until like the sun comes up, and then after that, I'll start my day where it's around like 6, take a shower. I would I'll take off to the gym, eat something at 11, and I'll get home around like 2.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, and then what I because another thing as like between meals and stuff like that, like I'll just walk it off,
Mm.
and then I just started back over. But how I learned about it, I was to the library, and if you ever heard of like called like the Warriors Diet, well, this guy he wrote a book talking about like back in the days how like a lot of people they used to hunt for their food.
Yes.
So
All right.
it's not
Mm-hmm.
so like he was saying like nowadays our food is so convenient we can just wake up and just go to the kitchen.
Yeah.
Right.
And he was all like back in the day and stuff like that. You know, they're like our ancestors are so fit and others like that because they usually they'll wake up and they'll go walk or hunt for their food or doing other things and then
Yeah.
like
Or even forage for food.
yeah
Yeah.
Yeah.
because sometimes the body's not hungry. As you were saying, like like when you eat meat and stuff like that, sometimes it is sitting in your body and it takes this long to digest and stuff like that. That's how sometimes people get like super constipated. And I
Yeah.
remember one time I used to eat chicken a lot, and like one day I don't know I just woke up and I stopped eating chicken for a while because I didn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped eating it for a while. Then I just started eating less and less and less, and I just got back in the walking routine. I got back into working out and stuff like that. So there's different reasons on why people intermediate fast or fast and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah. No. And
Yeah,
add to your point. Well,
it's
go ahead.
similar for me. It's it is easier to remember by having just a cutoff point like you do. So for me, it is more uh, I add layers to it, so it's more specific. Basically, my last meal involving any grains and lentils is before 6 p.m.
yeah,
And then my last meal period is before 8 p.m. So that means before 6 p.m. and 8 p.m., what I do is I try to eat foods, if I do eat at all, foods that are prebiotic that would help with digestion,
yeah,
Right.
that would provide food for my probiotics, for the good bacteria in my stomach.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
foods like oats with milk, oats with like coconut milk, or green juices, like provide that good fiber for my probiotics, for my like good bacteria to help with digestion. So
yeah,
that's the only purpose of eating anything extra after 6 p.m.
yeah. See,
Mm.
and like
Mhm.
and like that's actually good. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I remember when I used to. Like for a while, I used to eat like they call it old people cereal, like raisin bran or
Mhm.
like Chex Mix and stuff like that. But like it helps, you know what I mean? Like you get
Mhm.
full, yeah, you get full fast. You have a lot of energy and stuff like that. You can burn that shit off quick into your next meal.
Mhm.
That's why it's important to learn the fuel of the food and how that goes into your body. And if you do overeat, knowing what other different products you can use to help work your stomach. Because I'm gonna tell y'all now, this is what I've gotten to learn,
Mhm.
and it again. A lot of this stuff it just makes sense to me intuition wise, and then I go look this stuff up. So just like how we have our sleep cycle or our circadian rhythm, which is in line with the earth. So when it's dark, when it's light outside, we up. When it's dark outside, time to go to sleep. So that works very similarly to also our digestion in our system. So when the sun is up and we're eating, depending on how again you're doing your eating, those are the windows and times for you to eat.
Yeah,
Technically. Now when it gets to the nighttime and it's already lights out and stuff like that, if you're eating past that, that's basically now your body is actually closed for business. So what's
yeah,
happening is either your body's gonna start having to overwork when you're sleeping, which you're supposed to be healing. Your body is going through an anaerobic, if I'm saying it correctly, it's an anabolic basically process, which is it's building itself up. But what's happening is you're making your body work overtime to do that. Or in some cases, for some people, again, different digestive systems and, of course, different conditions, things that happen. Two, like Kundan and both Nose was saying, it's going to sit in your body overnight. So for some people, that will end up looking like you might get acid reflux. You might end up getting other different symptoms that literally you feel bloated in the morning. Things of that stuff is because the food that you ended up sitting on, especially eating it at night when, again, your body's closed for business, is there. Now you get up and you're feeling lazy, you're feeling groggy, and you're feeling all these different types of, emotions. It's because of the fact that what did you eat? And when did you eat
You
it?
just made me remember another thing, another reason why I fast, and especially why I fast at night, right? So there's two reasons why I fast at night. One is a more practical reason where if I fast at night, 8 out of the 14 hours I'm already sleeping, so it's not a problem,
Exactly.
right? So I don't even feel the hunger for the first 4 hours and then I just sleep, right? So only in the morning there's only about 2 hours of discomfort, like minor discomfort that I feel in the morning
Yeah.
as far as hunger. But the more like a medical reason for me is that my research shows that the body does the healing and restoration between
10
10
a.m.
p.m.
and
and
2
2
a.m.
a.m.
Yep.
2 a.m. That's the optimum time.
Mm-hmm.
So besides overworking the stomach, you're also, because we have a limited amount of energy in our bodies, you're taking away the energy from digestion and from the healing
Yes.
into digestion
Yes.
if you overeat after 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another reason. So besides not overworking the stomach, it's also about making sure that the body spends its energy on the healing and restoration process instead of the digestion process.
Yes. And again,
Yeah.
y'all, all of this stuff is not only in moderation, but as you're learning these things, it's okay
Mm-hmm.
to, again, stumble on these things. We're not saying you got to do
Mm-hmm.
this perfectly every single time, every day. We're all here learning and seeing what works for us. That's why we're talking about it. I mean, I'm getting to hear different experiences of what works for people, what doesn't. Because again, you're going to be the one working with your body. And this is also on the route of what I want to talk about with fasting and resetting the body, which later on will help with you knowing about yourself and your body. But again, we'll talk about that in a bit. But I know, Nose, you just turned on your mic. What's good?
No. I was no, as you were saying, like, yeah, like, I agree with you, because like, a lot of this information and stuff like that, say it can be overwhelming. So
Yeah.
I'll say anybody that's listening and stuff like that, first, this is what I would say. Like, besides like talking to your doctors and stuff like that, like, um, when you eat certain food, you know what I mean, like, listen to your body, let me see, like eating like all berries and stuff like that, like blueberries, raspberries, and stuff like that, like that's good for
Oh,
like
Yeah.
blood
blueberries.
circulation.
Yeah, the polyphenols. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I don't drink milk, but it's crazy though because sometimes
Inside.
I will eat
Can't
ice
break it
cream,
now.
but but now they have all these other alternatives like let me see,
Oh, they have so many,
like
like
Oat
coconut
milk is
milk, almond
really
milk,
good.
oat
Oat
milk.
milk
Yeah.
is
Yes.
good.
yeah
Or even seed milk. Yeah.
oat milk is good. There's also like people who have that sweet tooth or whatever. There's
Hmm.
plant based ice cream. I can send you guys different
Oh, yeah, there's
Oh, the
plant-based ice
Halo, the
cream. I
Halo
eat
tops are
those.
good.
Yeah.
like some different brands. There's like so
Divine Bliss is my favorite.
even
With Luna and Larry's.
like
Yeah,
have
that's my
like two
favorite.
flavors now, where it's like it's almond and it's all made with like plant based milk, and like it's very
Hmm.
very good. You know what I mean? Like even
It's delicious.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's my word. I love it.
and and like also as well too. If you guys like having a hard time with like cooking things or like or
Hmm.
you want to switch eating, man, like you can go to your cabinet or your refrigerator, and you can just look up YouTube. You can turn like anything to healthy. It pretty much is it's all about how you cook it.
Yeah. So
Put
let's
me
see. We
on
got
game,
something
notes.
here. Yeah. So
Put me
yeah,
on game.
he's definitely been sending me stuff, but again, I've literally been just like some of the things that I'm just like I have it for future references. So yeah, just link in with notes. He'll send you some stuff.
Yeah.
So look at Chicken and Beef said oatmeal is good, almond milk is good too, but I heard it's unhealthy too.
No, it's
Um,
not unhealthy. Almond milk has about, sorry, I'm a barista, so I know all about the milks. Um,
Mhm.
almond milk is probably the more healthier one because it's only about 80 calories. All of the
Oh,
other alternative milks, it starts increasing. So I know like soy is around like 120 calories. Oat milk is like a whopping 180. I think coconut
hmm.
is like under soy. So it's not quite in the hundreds, but it's more than 80. So it's like somewhere in like
I've
the
been
90s
using
or something.
coconut milk as a late for
It
smoothies.
depends too. Some people have allergies to soy, and some people have
Yep.
Exactly.
allergies to
Exactly.
almond milk, especially the lectins in the almond and cashew milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a specific type of substance called lectins, which
Mm-hmm.
are actually the poison that the plant produces to protect itself, which is why they're in a lot of the husk of the. They're even in like brown rice also as well,
Mm-hmm.
which is why we tend to wash it off. We wash the husk away when we eat the brown rice. So yeah, and but it's lectins cannot be totally avoided. So even for people without allergies, they can interfere with digestion.
Right.
But that's why I always recommend like drinking lots of water and doing your due diligence because nuts in general, like grains, are
Right.
also hard to digest. They take a long time as well, and that's why they even have like nut milk alternatives. Like they have seed milk now.
Yeah.
They
They have
do.
like
They
yeah,
do.
they have milk made of like
The hemp
sesame
seed.
seeds,
Yeah.
hemp seeds, sesame
Yeah.
seeds,
Yeah.
flax seeds. Yeah, they even have blends of those. Yeah.
And for all my
Chicken and
folks
beef
out
you
there,
can't eat.
Mm.
It's
yeah.
after 8.
No, no. Well, chicken and beef. That's 10, 11. Chicken and beef is in a new day right now. So yeah,
Oh,
they're at
he's
Yeah.
on the
12.
East Coast?
Yeah. But with
Oh, you
that, look,
can't eat.
with that, of course, we've gotten at least some mentions of why, but we're gonna still do a few more. But one thing I want to throw out to
Mm.
all my cheese lovers out there, even though if you don't
Mm.
drink the milk, you still
Ah,
put a slice of cheese or some cheese all around on there too.
love cheese.
That's facts.
Disclaimer. If you don't want to hear this information, silence this
You
for the
know I
next
do.
minute. So silence this for the next minute if you don't want to hear this information about cheese. It's not that bad, but I'm gonna give it why.
I feel
Okay?
triggered.
All right. Very
Mm.
funny. Very
I'm
funny.
triggered now.
But with that, y'all, if you want to. So I was looking into and figuring out why people are so addicted to cheese and why cheese is such a thing where it's like, dang, I could cut out the
Ah,
milk, but I still love the aspect of having cheese on my sandwich and all of this different stuff too. I found out that basically there is a chemical within cheese that's called casein.
yeah, casein,
And
yeah.
that chemical, what casein does is it actually mimics, and it's very similar to how morphine is. So if y'all know what morphine is, basically that's that you go to the doctor or anywhere else where it makes things numb and it feels good as it's like going in. You just be like, yeah, feeling dazed. So the
Hmm.
reason why cheese is so addicted the way that it is because of the casein mimics and it produces similar
Getting high
morphine
off the
like
cheese.
feels.
You're getting high off the cheese, yeah.
So literally
Yeah.
that's the case of why again cheese is
Oh my
addictive and it takes a
goodness.
while. That's why finding substitutes for stuff is gonna take a minute. I'm
Yeah.
still on that cheese route right
Try
now.
try to eat dark chocolate instead of cheese because it is better. Not only is it more healthy for you, it also has natural cannabinoids,
There's dope
including
in the cheese.
anandamide. So it has similar effects
Oh
to
no.
cannabis in a way.
What is going on in the comments with y'all right now? Don't do it. He's doing but what is this? Is we back to Drake? Don't do it. Please don't do it. Like what is we doing? But yeah, again, it's all about all of this stuff too. Again, with the fasting is also learning to find alternatives and then easier ways to find, these different alternatives for you. So again, it's not saying you need to
Is
completely
it
throw everything
is
out of
it
what you
is it
eat,
in the is
but
it in
it's
the goat
also
cheese
about
too?
how
Is casein
what?
in the goat cheese?
In the goat cheese?
It
Probably.
might end up being. I don't know about
He
all the
said,
cheeses because I'm
don't
not a
doubt it.
cheese connoisseur at all. So I don't know any of these things. But again, y'all. All right, some other reasons why would you fast?
Yes, Google says goat cheese does have casein. Yeah. But
Boom.
it has a different type of casein called A2 casein. It's a protein that agrees much more with the human body. So they're basically saying that most other types of cheese have
Did you
A1
just read that?
casein. So, huh?
You are lagging. Chris is lagging right now. But
She's always lagging.
continue.
You're lagging. Yeah, basically casein is a type of protein. It does give you a high, but it's so casein in general is, besides the addictive fact, it's bad for your body.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I
Uh,
thought we named them all.
so yeah,
Oh, it
but most
does. Oh,
other
I
cheese
love
have
me some
a
goat
type of
cheese.
casein called A1, and then goat cheese have A2. So it's a little bit better, but it's still casein.
With the stomach.
That's what they're saying. Yeah, yeah.
So again, y'all,
Mm-hmm.
all of this stuff that we're putting down to is because we're learning about this. All the
Is there a
different
lag?
fuels. Your body is gonna be
Sorry.
fueled
I'm
by these
sorry.
things. So, girl, if
Oh,
you don't
notes.
Oh wait,
get,
even your voice is lagging now. I don't. Okay.
so no, we gonna pop her back in because we
Yeah,
can't have 4, 5, 6, 7 people jumping in and out, not jumping in and out, but talking at the same time.
yeah.
But
Because of the lag. Yeah.
the lag. But again, all of this stuff is just for to let y'all know about again why fasting is important because a lot of the stuff that we eat nowadays is processed and it takes a bit of time for your body to digest these things and get it going. So to really help yourself out and honestly help your body out, because again, you're in this vessel, we're doing these things. But another good reason why I would end up saying we need to fast or at least practice fasting is also when we're talking about fasting too, a lot of us also forget the component that yes, it has to do with the body, but remember we got the mind and we also had a soul. So there's also those aspects of the mental and the spiritual idea when it comes to fasting. Again, the spiritual aspect, again, like you saw throughout other different religious and other practices that tap into the point of when you fast, your body's more not only in tune of knowing what's going on with it, but then your mind and your soul is connected to something else more for you to again think about stuff, to really get deep intuition and really to speak on stuff. So I mean, again, you got like Jesus in the Bible. You got literally, I know Mahatma Gandhi doing some stuff like that. Muhammad. Again, I don't know all of the quote unquote prophets and folks within all the different sectors of religion and Bibles, but no, I am not fasting for Jesus. Okay, like this fasting for Jesus gotta stop, bro. You're being extra as
Yeah.
heck right now. Okay,
No
like
one's
no,
fasting for
nobody
Jesus.
is fasting for
He
Jesus.
fasts
I
for
know my
Jesus.
homie Jesus.
Why
I
can't he
know
fast for
Jesus, my
Jesus?
homie Jesus. But we're gonna stop for that because there's too much. There's look, it's making me go in different areas that we don't need to. This is not again. We're not trying to be as random as heck as we are, but again. Another reason too is for the again the spiritual, the mental aspect of that. And one of the other things that I like to do, which I haven't done it in a while, but a lot of us do it too, and it's a good thing that we need to start doing it again, which is called a digital detox.
Mhm.
And that digital detox again is we're so engrossed in all the technology, our phones, laptops, TV, and we use it so much on a daily basis that it gets ingrained to a point where we're not used to not only going outside and just chilling and relaxing and just getting the natural feel of living. We're stuck on
Digital
screens.
minimalism. Yeah.
And a great way with the digital detox is taking it slow. What I've been doing is literally, and I've been having fun with it too, is at least 4 hours out of the day, and it's been getting more and more as the days continue. I'm away from my phone or any types of technology. Most of the time is because I'm at work, but I also push myself to not pull out my phone, not pull out anything else. If I have that urge, I have my Rubik's Cubes, as well as I also, which is funny, I have them at work where I'm working and I'm playing with a Rubik's Cube. But then I also have books. So I sit there and I read that in particular. But I'm giving myself and my eyes and my body a break. Especially, I forgot what that phenomenon was called, but I don't know if a lot of y'all still experience it now, but you being so close to your phone and so in touch with it, it gets into a certain vibe and a certain feel.
It's similar to the phantom limb.
Yeah, so
It's like you
literally
have a phantom
whenever
phone. Yeah,
whenever you
yeah.
literally have that there, you'll get this weird vibration feeling, like as in there's
Hmm.
something going on, not only because if your phone's vibrating, but just that tendency to want to go back and pop right back into your phone. It's a certain phenomenon, but it's because of the fact that you're very connected to doing that. So digital detox is another thing that is great to end up doing too with fasting. Along with that is because it's giving yourself a time to get away from technology and to get into other activities you like to do, which again, Kunis, shouts out to that book because that's one of the few things
Hmm.
in that book. It talks about doing at least
Yeah.
15 minutes daily of free time for yourself. So that means nobody coming in bothering you, no technology, no TV, no none of that. And you get into an activity that you love to do, or you pick up something, you meditate, whatever it is, but take some time away because it's
That's why I
important.
go to the park at least 30 minutes to an hour every day without my phone. Like I just go with my books and my crayons and I just like meditate, do my movement practices and I just like doodle with my crayons
Yeah.
after reading the book. So yeah, I do that. That's just like me time, right?
Yes.
That's so important also because of the cortisol differential part of
Mm-hmm.
it too, because these phones, these social media apps are playing with your dopamine and cortisol levels on purpose to keep you hooked on the platform. So, and that's why, especially at night, it's important to just turn off your phone like at least 30 minutes to an hour before bedtime
Mm-hmm.
and then do something relaxing for that reason as well, before the cortisol differential too.
Yes. Again, y'all, all in practice. You take your time. We're not the end all be all of all this information. We're just sharing what we know of what we've experienced. But take this all in light. Yeah, and it's bedtime. Yes, exactly. Again, we're around this time. I know I could be doing this earlier, but again, this works for my schedule, so I know certain days for me and my sleep and all of this stuff. But yeah, um, there is no after show, Chris. Just letting you know that because I'm gonna get me some after sleep. That's what I'm gonna do. But again, y'all, all of this is just adding into the aspect of different types of fasting. A digital detoxes, these master cleanses, intermittent fasting, diagnostic fasting. These are all different fasts that help you again restructure and reset yourself. Before we get into the last topic for tonight, before we do that, I wanted to go down the pros and cons because some people be like, okay, well, you said all of this why and why is important. You gave different lists of fasts to do and what can help you with it. Now, what are the pros and cons to all this fasting? And we got from Alien Space Queen says, keep up the good work notes.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So, pros and cons of fasting.
Yeah, I think we've talked a lot about the pros where, it helps with digestion, it helps with healing, it gives your stomach a break, as well as your livers and kidneys a break so that your body can divert resources towards healing and restoration.
Yes.
And it also makes sure that you don't end up with like a rotting graveyard in your body that imbalances the ecosystem of your, microbiome and virome and all the fungi as well
Yes.
that are in this perfect balance
Yes.
until we mess it up. So yeah, those are I think the main pros.
I'll add a few more, which we've already probably seen them on here. I'm seeing them here. So it helps with the overall balance within your body, whether it has to do with your blood pressure, how you
Mm,
balance the fluids within your body, also gives you normal levels of either your blood sugar. What I talked about earlier, it also goes in and protects your brain. Because again, it's the mental as well as that spiritual aspect that's there too. As well as it helps you to control your appetite, You start to have a better control of your appetite. Shout outs to Clever Android. How you doing? I see you in here. What's the word? And again, it helps with your immune system, your defense system. So then it's working on a regular, and it's able to be as strong as you possibly can get it. And then we always know mental health is a big thing. We talked about it before. Your diet, and there are studies that show that your diet and what you eat have an impact on your mental well-being, because we have the saying in English, and it's probably in other different languages, you are what you eat. So if you are eating dumpster trash garbage, you putting that in, you're going to ultimately feel like dumpster trash garbage. So you have to be mindful of that. So again, fasting can help clean that out, and you can have a mood change at times too. Again, all depends. Now, let's get a few cons, because again, we could definitely get on some cons.
Oh wait, there's another pro, which is it helps with sleep, because going back to what I said to notes, it ensures you don't have those sugar crashes or sugar highs at the wrong time.
Yes.
Because you need the sugar in the morning, not so much at night. You don't need that or the crash that happens sometimes in the afternoon when you overdose on the glucose in the morning.
Yes.
Which is what happens when you drink those Monster energy drinks or those 5-hour ones. They give you the boost, but then they give you a crash later.
Yeah, that's
So it's
ugly,
better to do it more naturally.
Ugly crash.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I can say proudly with my hand raised high, I have never drank an energy drink. Ever. And the reason why is because I've had people around me, and I saw the reactions to them drinking multiple energy drinks, whether if it was Monster, Red Bull, 5-hour energy, any of those different types of energy drinks. Yes, drink you some water. And I saw the immediate rush in that high, and then I saw the ultimate crash and doom with all of that. For example, one that I remember so much in high school, because I tell people about this so much of why I would never go near a 5-hour energy drink, even if they've improved their formula, whatever, et cetera, which the name in itself lets you know how many hours of energy do you get? 5 hours. So then what else is going to happen after that? The rest of the time that you're up, you crashing. But basically, this is what happened. I played football back in high school, and we were going on an away game. One of my teammates decided, you know what? We went to 7-Eleven. He was like, you know what? I'm a little tired. Let me grab me a 5-hour energy. So he goes ahead and proceeds on our way to play the game on the bus. He takes a 5-hour energy. We get off the bus. We doing stretches, do everything else. This man is wired. Eyes is all the way up here. Like, he's just pumped, ready to go and everything. It got to a point where when we started the game and we had basically did kickoff. Kickoff is when, of course, for folks who play football, kickoff is you're kicking to the opposing team. This dude was all the way in the back, like lined up where everybody else is for kickoff. The kicker kicks the ball. This dude jets super fast down the whole lane, gets through all the defenders, knocks out, of course, and tackles the main dude who had the ball, who was the runner. And then he runs back to the other side, runs to the offsides on the line again, back over to the huddle. And this dude is just jumping into everybody, bumping into everybody, just has high amounts of energy. And this happens throughout the whole game. But once we're done and we win the game, we get back on the bus, knocked out. Like, you pushing him, trying to get him his attention and anything, he is gone. So that let me know for sure. I'm like, yeah, 5-hour energy, not happening. But not happening. I'm like, no. Because you can put yourself, I'm not trying to catastrophize it or even making a terrible thing, but just imagine you take that energy drink and you're somewhere because you're trying to stay up, and ultimately you fall asleep if you're on the bus, on the train, or wherever else you're going. You don't know what could happen. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's for a certain time and
Yeah.
a certain place. But again, if you do drink energy drinks, I'm not down in any of y'all, anything, stuff like that. I'm just letting y'all know. That's one of the cons, at least for folks who do take these different types of energy drinks. Okay? Yeah, immediately crash, and if you're trying to make your way and you in a taxi, I, I don't know. Your taxi bill about to be expensive. Or if you do Uber, whatever it is, because they got to try to wake you up, all of that. But again, y'all, all right. Some of the cons, and then we're gonna move to the last topic for tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the cons are, one is, well, don't do it if you have a history of having an eating disorder because it could re-trigger it or, re-trigger it, make it worse, things like that. Yeah, that's one of the cons. Uh, Another con might be, if you don't do it without, if you do it without the proper research and things like that, it might make things,
Worse.
yeah, it could potentially make things worse for you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
As well as, again, like you said, another con I will put on there too is especially if it's your first time doing this and
Mm-hmm.
you're the type of person that likes to just go all in with everything, you're going to shock your body. And
Facts.
what's going to
Mm-hmm.
end up happening is you're going to do the complete opposite. It's that you wanted to
Mm-hmm.
try something new, but what ended up happening is you ended up compensating for that. So then you consume more. So after you then try to shock your
Yeah,
body and do like 2-3 days,
you start doing the binge
you're
eating.
gonna
Yeah.
start binge eating. And what happens too with this, y'all gotta be careful. Depending on how many days you decide to go on a fast, especially if you do more than 5 to 10 days of fasting, it is not recommended. And again, we're not no doctors, we're not physicians, but I've had experience. We've got some experiences with this. It is not recommended that you go straight into eating solid foods off the bat. So if you go from 5 to 10 days of fasting, don't expect that you're going to go to your nearest McDonald's or any other place and pick up a burger and fries. You're going to make your stomach very upset and you're going to feel
Mm-hmm.
it. I'm not going to say that you're going to bring the food back up out your mouth, but you're not going to feel good at all. So
Yeah.
what's recommended is for you to go into less solid foods, whether if that is doing still some fruits, whether that might be getting some vegetables, or best, honestly, the best case would be a type of soup to
Mm-hmm.
slowly push yourself back in. Of course, you eat a soup for a day and then eat soup the next day, and then you can have some type of more solid food, which also we didn't get to talk about it much too, but we can get it into resetting your body is also the way that you eat your food. You got to be mindful of just not gorging down your food because then you're making your body also overwork it so much too. Especially again, if you come off of a longer fast like that, you don't want to just start throwing food down your mouth. You want to make sure that you thoroughly chew it so that again, when it gets down to your internal, your organs, small intestine, everything, all of that there, you've already done the harder part of already breaking it down to a point where it can just go down and digest very easily. So
Mm-hmm.
be mindful of those
Yeah,
things.
your saliva actually contains a certain amount of certain kinds of like digestive enzymes. So actually digestion starts in the
Mouth.
mouth. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason for chewing, chewing a certain amount. It's not just to cut up the food and crush it. It is
Yeah.
to help digest it with the saliva.
It's all good, brother. Again, we just said right now what Kundan just said about the enzymes in your mouth, which is
Really
why
taste.
certain things already start to dissolve in your mouth, which
Mm-hmm.
again, it's already that's gonna happen there, so you're good. I'm talking about like big amounts of food, like putting down a big old burger for folks that eating a steak,
Mm-hmm.
or wanting to eat a
Yeah.
whole big amount of grains, mac and cheese, whatever it is. Like portion is important. Portion control is important. But any other cons so that we can move in to the last topic, which ties into this and ties into the whole show.
Yeah. Another con is if you are too hard on yourself or too strict. That's why I'm no doctor, but I would recommend like a range, like I said here, right? Especially if you're first starting out, you might want to start with 10 to 12 hours of intermittent fasting and then go into, higher amounts after your body gets used to it.
Yes. As well as designate a time throughout the month that you want to even start some of this stuff too. And I
Yeah.
used to do this and I'm getting back into it again. I'm letting y'all know I'm being accountable for what I'm saying. I'm telling you this information. Kundan's giving you this information. Notes and all of us are giving this information. I usually like to do my fast at the end of the month. So depending on how many days I'm going to go for, I use those last few days in the month to set myself up for that fasting. And even prior to that, if I know I'm going to fast for a certain amount of days, like 3 to 5, I go through the process of getting used with the intermittent fasting. And then from there, I start to pile on the days. And then when I'm really ready, I go on a streak for 3-5 days to give myself that body to clean. Because what happens is, again, another thing we talk about with fasting, and then we'll move to the next topic, is when you give your body that time of rest, and especially if you're just putting in liquids and no other different types of solids, what you're doing is basically you're cleaning out all those valves and all those move ways through your body that might have, again, residue of all the food that's from there prior. And what you're also doing is you're giving, again, your stomach, your intestines, all of those places, kidneys, all a break. And you're recycling it. And you're helping it to basically, again, you're just cleaning it. It's like literally if you're doing an oil change in a car, if you're changing the air filter in your air conditioner, anything else like that has to be cleaned, vacuum cleaner. All of these are all examples, again, that shows that if you can do that to all these different appliances, why not apply that to your body? But yeah, with that,
Yeah.
Notes, do you have anything of a con before we move on to the importance of resetting your body?
Man, nah, not really. Not really.
You
Wait, yeah, I do. Yeah, yeah. It's actually important that you said that because I remember one my uncle. He went to well, he got yeah he got locked up in Mexico and
mm,
he said the food was there was okay the jails, but he said when they brought him back to the States, he said the only thing was good was the fruit, and he said like he was there for I think like a month and a half.
yeah.
He was saying that like he didn't really notice, but when he just ate nothing but fruit and water and just kept in his Bible and stuff like that, and just kept praying, just kept in his Bible and stuff.
Yeah.
He said when he first got out, he was small, like super small, and he said the first thing he went to go get like a burrito from Filiberto's, and his body pretty much went into like I wouldn't say shock, but I guess like having all those ingredients and getting so his body swelled up.
Mm,
So it is good that you said that. Before you go into a fast, start like slowing down your food. Start slowing down your food and stuff like that. That way, well, actually smart. I never thought of it that way.
yeah. I mean,
Start.
it's like, and sorry to cut you off, brother. It's like with anything that you're learning to do in practice, you start to either you're adding something or you'll start subtracting. So I
Yeah,
mean, if you're learning that you're gonna start learning to swim, you're gonna start learning how to breathe longer. You're gonna learn how to be in the pool and move your arms and do different things for a longer amount of time.
that's
When
facts.
it comes to food, if you're trying to lessen your food intake so that you can let your body rest, if you know that you eat 3 meals a day, maybe cut out a meal or substitute that meal with maybe 2 small snacks and then continue from there. Personally, for me, it changes for me daily, but most of the time I only eat once a day. And that's just it works for my body. And it just makes sense for me when it comes to how at least I eat. And yes, is that a big meal? Sometimes it's a real big meal. Sometimes it's not. But again, those slow processes of you weaning your way into it instead of just jumping straight forward cold turkey, no pun intended, you basically train yourself because a lot of this does come down to discipline and you really wanted to do this to better yourself and your health. Again,
Yeah,
Self-care for your health care, and your body is health is wealth. Health is wealth. So
One more thing I want to add is it probably helps to do, if you can, to do with their friend or even community, as accountability partners. Because remember when I mentioned all these different cultures that do it,
yes,
the key thing is that it is part of a larger context
yes,
of culture and community and cultural practices, which means they already have that built-in accountability partnerships into it, because they're not doing it alone. They have other people,
mm-hmm.
friends and family who are doing it with them, which helps a lot. And then they have a big why, a purpose and a
Yes,
reason, beyond just the physical health. They have, a lot of times they're also doing it for like spiritual reasons that are unique to each, culture and religion. So all of that also helps. It's too bad that in a modern context, all of that has been stripped away, and we only have this very cold, secular, Western, scientific thing.
yes,
That's so it's important to reclaim it and restore it. And I think that can be, even if you happen to be a racialized or colonized person, to reclaiming it can be part of your decolonization process, to reclaim the original context in which uh, this exists in your particular, cultural context.
yes. And we're
Yeah.
gonna talk about that too, on the importance of resetting your body, which now we're gonna
Mhm.
segue into the last topic for tonight's show, which is the importance of resetting your body. Now, the idea that I'm coming with when it comes to resetting your body goes off of the analogy of not only technology, but even looking at systems that you have, looking at
Mhm.
the lights that you have, your phone, all of these different things have reset buttons on them. And what does a reset do? And then the reset basically, again, it's a restarting or a booting back up of the original, or if not, a system previous to where it was, or if not, again, a previous version. Now, why would you want to end up resetting your body? We spoke already a bit already in the fasting portion of why you would want to reset your body, just the way of like how we would do some fasting. Again, if y'all don't know, and I'm going to keep saying this, I don't care if this was season 1, season 2, we were season 3, I set these topics up on purpose because it flows together, and I made it that way so that, again, it goes to the whole contents of the show. Now, with resetting your body, one of the points that I wanted to end up making, and right now it's eluding me because I was right there with it, Kundan, but then I had it as well, notes, but now it's eluding me. Okay, it's back. Since we were talking about the cultural aspect again, and having, again, the accountability and having people and folks like that, culturally, within especially the U.S., there has been a dramatic shift from the forms and methods of how eating and taking care of your body is done. And what I mean by that is, you can go way back when to how your mom has a cookbook, your ancestors and the previous generations actually had different holistic and natural health books, where if you had any type of, these remedies that you would need to help clean with your body, to help with resetting your body, if you had an upset stomach, if you had a headache, there was a remedy for it. There you had those natural remedy books, and those things were passed down.
Yeah, the local folk medicine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what happened within the trend of the US, at least, because that's only I can speak on, is my US experience, is somewhere around, I want to say about the 1920s, 1930s, it might even go into the 40s. And this is where the practicing of medicine and the pharmaceutical companies started to really emerge and arise. And what was happening is, in these different schools, which, if I'm correct, it was either the Rockefellers or the Rothschilds. I want to say it's the Rockefellers that opened up basically a medical school. And what they were doing is they were teaching a lot of their medical students that a lot of those natural remedies and those holistic types of practices were incorrect, and that if you did those practices, you will be considered a whack job or a crazy person. And what they were doing is they were using different methods, again, of treating folks, which one of them was actually using petroleum to actually treat cancer in certain folks, which you can go later on and find out how effective that actually was to treating people. But I get to my point of, from there, again, you have your food pyramid, which that's also can be debunked, of knowing that literally how the food pyramid is set up, it's not in your best interest.
It's actually upside down.
Exactly. And it's not in your best interest the way that it's set up to really have a, again, quality amount of your health being fixed.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to add on that point, again with the holistic stuff, is that's why you see that a lot of the alternative practices for medicine and things of that sorts is either hidden, frowned upon, or mysteriously a lot of different things happen to these folks. And the reason why, again, that has happened is because we've shifted from the point of healing to profit. And you have to be mindful of, okay, that's why fast food, GMO food, and all the other different foods that we have access to is not out of the ease to get, or I should say it is out of the ease to get it, which is the convenience, versus, of course, more natural stuff. It did take a little bit more time, and some of the stuff was raw. It wasn't the best tasting. So as we've transitioned to move to do a lot of that, it's made it harder and harder for us to even think about, okay, why do we even need to go on a fast? Why would I even need to reset my body? But I wanted to give that key point out there.
That's so important.
But go ahead, Kundan, go ahead.
That reminds me of a TED Talk and how it connects to local folk saying, right? That I clearly remember growing up in Burmese. It says in Burmese, "Manatemo nyanga pyo," right?
Here we pee.
And if you hear the sound, it even rhymes in Burmese, right? Manatemo nyanga pyo. And what it means in English is papaya in the morning, banana at night, right? And it was never explained to me why. And, it was just my elders, older folks were like, oh, don't eat, banana in the morning. You gotta eat it at night. Like, don't eat papaya at night, eat it in the morning. And a few months ago, I watched a TED Talk where the scientist had done some research, and she was explaining that the exact same food can have different effects on your body depending on the time of the day.
Yes.
Like the exact same food. So it kind of, confirms this local Burmese saying, right? It was even more specific. It was telling you, hey, this particular food should only be eaten in the morning, and this one should be eaten at night.
Yes. Again, that's why I am a avid advocate, the double A is an avid advocate, I'm A.D.V.I.S, of looking at a lot of these wise sayings and breaking them down and figuring out why they are wise sayings in the first place. And then you'll come to figure out why it makes sense. And just giving you the heads up too, Kundan, I know it's 10, so whenever you gotta head out, you're more than excited to make sure that you don't go over, get you the quality sleep.
I think I'll go. I just want to add one more thing to add on to what you said earlier about the changes in our food lifestyles, right? Even in the U.S., and there's a documentary that showed that even as recently as the 50s, people were growing, had little fruit vegetable gardens that you could eat from. Like every home had it. And but the moment they started building condominiums along with the big box supermarket grocery stores, that's when they started dying out, because the advertisers were all, besides it literally, taking out, a lot of the small farming communities and things like that.
Yes.
They were also making a huge advertising campaign, basically saying that only poor people grow their own food. Like, so if you want to be perceived as rich or middle class, then you have to buy from the grocery store. So they were programming that in the ads as well.
Propaganda, marketing,
Hmm.
persuasion. Like, come on, y'all. Come on. The psyche
Yeah,
is again, that's why also on top
yeah.
of this importance of resetting your body, you come into a lot of this
And look at
awareness.
their presupposition, right? They're like,
Yeah.
neuro-linguistic programming. There's a lot of questionable things in it, but there's a few things I've learned from it that still applies to a lot of things. One of them is the presupposition, right?
Yes.
The idea there's multiple layers in that ad because the presupposition is that it's bad to be perceived as poor, even though, or that it's shameful to be perceived as poor, even though it's not.
Yeah.
So that's already put in that layer programming. And then on top of that layer, you can add whatever you want, which is, in this case, the idea that, growing your own food is poor, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but that presupposition has so many other uses. That's how the diamond ring companies, also had their own ads saying you have to buy 2 months worth of salary if you're a man for your woman
Mm.
for her to get married in order to be perceived as worthy. It has to be at least 2 months, right? So there's a presupposition to that too, because
Yeah.
if you don't, then you're perceived as a poor man, and being poor is shameful.
Yeah.
So the same presupposition can be used to manipulate you in so many different directions, so many different ways. It's
Yes.
crazy.
So that's
Yeah.
why, again, another
Mm-hmm.
aspect of the importance of resetting your body is so that you can
Reset your mind too from these programs. Yeah.
exactly,
Yep.
exactly. I'm gonna continue on with
All
this,
right.
but
I
Kundan,
gotta go. Yeah.
yes,
Peace and love.
appreciate
Yeah.
you so much. Peace and love.
I know it's, yeah.
Yeah, notes over here focused. Yeah. So again, y'all, we're here and here. I'm gonna give a little bit more of my spill on resetting the body. I mean, notes, you're more than welcome. You do your chiming in, and then we're going to end out for tonight's show. But again, thank y'all for everybody who's came through, those who supported, um, all the love and your time that you've been here. I'm appreciative and I'm grateful and thankful for it. So my whole aspect of why I wanted to get more into talking about resetting your body is, again, all of this programming that we've been shown, that we've been given, and has been put on a plate to us on a silver platter, which again, you always got to watch out for free food and free samples, Costco. I'm just playing. But
Fucking weed.
I had to put some jokes in there. You have to end up finding out what works best for you at the end of the day. So a reset is perfect for you to start understanding and understanding the inner workings of your own body. And for me, I'll give y'all some examples, at least for myself, of how when I've done a reset and of how I know certain things with my body. So when I go on my fast and I do resets from certain things, I notice around, at least for me, between 4 and 6 p.m., especially if I'm doing intermittent fasting, that my stomach starts to growl. Um, my my arms and stuff and things let me know, like, okay, yeah, bro, it's about that time for you to get something to eat. And that's one way for me of knowing, especially when it's my times of knowing, okay, this will be, I need to eat, especially on intermittent fasting. Another thing I end up learning too is, depending on the foods that you do put into your body, we talked about it before, the food is the fuel. So if you're putting in, again, garbage, trash, dumpster food, you're going to get garbage, trash, dumpster food fuel that won't last long. So if you put in the right fuels and the right foods, which again, it could be a mixture of stuff. For you, that's how you have to play around and find this stuff. I notice when I put a lot of fruits, vegetables, and I do typically have some fish or seafood of some sort sparse in between here and there. But I notice the difference of when I'm having like heavy seafood I'm eating, and then I go straight into just having veggies and fruits. I have a lot more energy. I'm more wide awake. I'm more aware of certain things, especially whether if I'm working or I'm creating music or I'm doing stuff like this. I have a more heightened awareness. Whereas in for me, you eating heavy loads of, again, for me, fish, I don't feel, again, as groggy, as slow. I don't experience the itis, which for folks who don't know what the itis is literally you eat a large amount or you eat a certain amount of food and you get to a point where your body feels sluggish and you feel sleepy and you end up going to sleep, which, again, I'm not a doctor, not a physician. If you need recommendations, go to your local doctor, your local physician. But I do say one thing when it comes to eating, and I am guilty of this. Please make sure if you're eating, especially a heavy meal, or if you're eating a somewhat light meal too, don't immediately, after 5-10 minutes, go lay down. Please don't do that. The reason why I'm saying that is then again, your stomach, everything inside there is going to have to work even more overtime for that to work. And you're going to wonder why you still feel full. And it's because the way that if you're laying down, it's literally staying in the place. It's not going down naturally where it needs to. We have certain angles of our bodies of why we stand up, why we sit, why we lay down for certain things is to help relieve stress and to open up ways for things to travel, blood flow, all of that stuff. So if you do eat a heavy meal or eat food, a light meal, give it at least an hour or two before you even lay down. Walk around. If you're still sitting down, at least make sure that it's going straight down in the stomach, all the other different things of that sort. Now, getting back to the reset. Another important reason why you want to end up resetting your body, and we're going to talk about how you're going to reset your body very soon too, is it also comes to not only the physical, we talked a bit already about the mental, but also the spiritual aspect. And what I mean by the spiritual aspect, as we talked about before, is literally being more in tune with self and being more in tune with what's happening around you. So for me, that what I was talking about earlier, the heightened awareness and being able to reset your body helps you, again, get you more clear focus on what that is for you. If that's you practicing Christianity, practicing Islam, whatever it may end up being, that's why in these traditions in these different religions, there's these practices of fasting, which fasting is another way of resetting your body. It's done. It's to help with that type of motivation and that focus and that determination, again, to strive to be a better version of yourself. So you definitely, again, want to take that time to reset your body for that, because then once you connect more with yourself and what your why is for some folks, that spirituality is their why for things, it helps to strengthen your resolve on what you're doing on your day-to-day. So that's another aspect of the importance of resetting your body. Now, with going about resetting your body, there's a number of ways of doing it. One, fasting is one of those things like we talked about. Two, digital detox, getting away from technology, phone, computer, TV, all of that for certain amounts of the day, or if not for a day or so, that's feasible for you. That's, of course, it makes sense for you. We're not saying, okay, go 4 or 5 days without your phone, don't answer to any of that stuff. That can cause the opposite effect, especially if, one, you're working, two, you have family members you're taking care of, or honestly, three, you got people that love checking up on you and you don't answer, you don't figure out, they can worry. So in an appropriate amount to be able to do the detox, digital detox. Second thing of how another third way of resetting your body as well too is what you listen to is very important, because we forget, and all of our senses that we have, we are consuming it in some way, shape, or form. So whatever you are smelling, you're seeing, you're listening to, you're tasting, and you're touching, resetting those different, again, senses is another way to really reset your body, because then you start to come back as a whole new setup of how you can address stuff that you previously was dealing with. You know, for some folks, again, to all those who do experience arthritis or having some type of joint pains, and it's mostly because of inflammation in those places.
Yep.
If, again, you decide to, okay, I'm going to take a break from, maybe you've been doing too much heavy lifting or scrunching your hands or doing some certain movement, this is the physical part, lessening that, ingesting more foods that are antioxidants, and being able to get the flow going through your fingers and hands, as well as, of course, if you got supplements, using supplements. We didn't even talk much about supplements. Those are other different things that you can use to substitute. Again, depending on, you got to work through and find the stuff that works for you. That can help with the arthritis pains, as well as, again, you have topicals, you got all the other things that that can work for you. But the importance of resetting your body to be able to do stuff like that, you get a clue to know, yeah, getting his haircut on Twitch, very goofy. You get to know specifically why you experience the condition or that pain that you have. When you reset your body, you'll be like, okay, when I would eat this certain type of food, I noticed I would break out. That's how you find out about your allergy, find out about all of the things that have an adverse effect on you after you do a reset. Because again, another saying within English is, I always mess it up, but again, is that you never really cherish anything until it's gone. So when you notice that you take something out, then you start to pinpoint and figure out, okay, so after I took out this certain food, or after I stopped doing push-ups this way, or I started listening to more inspirational music or music of frequencies, I noticed that my body enhanced this way, or I noticed that I had less headaches here. So being able to take time to reset also helps you figure out if you've had any type of chronic pains or any other different issues that you've experienced. It lets you know, if you get rid of what you were doing and it disappears, you know that that was the quote unquote root of the cause. Now, another way that I can think of when it comes to resetting your body, especially, is sleep. Sleep and definitely drinking water is another way to, again, reset your body. And what do you mean by, okay, sleep? So literally go a day or something without sleep and see how much it has an effect. Then come back and implement a regular schedule of your sleep. For me, I like to go to sleep now between at least be off technology between 10 to 10:30. I know I'm going a little bit longer on this. My Wednesdays are an exception. But I notice if I decide to go past that and beyond that, that I have a change in my mood and behavior when it comes to how I sleep. Because again, for those who don't know, when you sleep, it's an anaerobic or anabolic, if I'm using the right word, because anaerobics is like you moving, but an anabolic process, which is building up your body. It's very similar to how you would plug in and charge your phone. That's what sleep does for you. So if you get the right amount of sleep, especially for 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, etc., every night, especially if you don't eat heavy, you're doing what you need to do with your foods and all that stuff, you're helping your body to reset. And that's important. Like in the title it says. I don't know if you have anything else that you want to add while I'm still going in a bit on this.
Actually, I don't.
I feel it. Besides, over here, Chicken and Beef was saying about Notes getting his haircut on Twitch, being goofy about it. But yeah, But those are a few other ways, again, that you can go about resetting your body and doing those things. Now, the main thing I wanted to talk about, and I'll stop after that here with it, is reason why and knowing how to do these different things to reset your body, whatever ends up working for you, is once you're able to do that, now you start to slowly but surely become an expert on your body. So then you know when you start to experience you're feeling sick is because of the fact that you ate some food that you know you wasn't supposed to be eating, or you exposed yourself to too much sun or some other place for so long that it was like, okay, I need to go get out of here. All right, I need to stop eating this stuff. You start to now understand what we would call the equilibrium, which is the balance of your body day to day. I mean, the main ones we know for sure is hunger and thirst. So when you're starting to feel dehydrated that you need to go and get you some water. Now, learning how to reset your body and work with all those different things, whether if it's fasting, whether if it's, again, getting the right amounts of sleep, whether if that's being, again, meditating, all these other different ways that help reset your body, the digital detox, you start to now have a better clue of how your body works and what you can do to help improve, if not keep your body balanced. Now, another level to add to that too is, again, if you do have a doctor and you do have a physician, is adding these things all together along with him, as well as you got YouTube, you got Google, you got all these different places and platforms too to at least get some in-depth or some insight to other different types of ways people reset or work with their bodies. Because at the end of the day, you're the one living in your body. You're the one that's living in this vessel. Nobody's going to be able to take care of your body better than you. Especially, again, genetics, heredity, predisposed, other conditions. If you know a lot of this stuff runs in your family too, it's important that you take all of that in consideration. Yes, doctors know to a certain extent, but the medical field, it's very, not one-sided, but when it comes to medications, when it comes to prescriptions and things of that sort, it's not given the right dose for your body weight, your race, your gender, and etc. Some of that stuff is just the norm for mostly white folks, and especially white men and women. So some of those things might not work for you, and you have to find out how much of a dose you really need to end up taking, whether adult, kid, child, whatever it is. So knowing your body and becoming an expert on your body and having other experts to consult with also can help with learning how resetting your body, fasting, and just keeping your body in a good mental and physical state prolongs your life. As well as, I don't know about y'all, but I know when at least I eat right and I reset my body in a certain way and I've gotten that extra energy and stuff, I start to honestly really live life. I really do. I don't just sit there and just say, man, forget all of this stuff. I'm just feeling bad. It doesn't mess with the moods because, again, the foods have an effect on your mood. Your mood can be your doom at the end of the day as well. But again, all of this today, ultimately, of resetting your body and the importance of doing it is all up to you. If you want to do all of this stuff, go for it. If you don't be surprised at what other conditions and things that come up later on down in life is because you've neglected to take care of yourself and take care of these different things within your body. I'm not saying, oh, you need to fast every month, you need to fast, do all these things. No, do what appropriately works for you and leave it there. Now, with that, y'all, I'm going to get into my final thoughts, but of course, I'm going to give Notes the chance to go ahead and give his wrap up and final thoughts of the whole show, and we're out.
Man, do your research, know your body. Um, you know, don't don't feed into these types of vegans, vegetarians, whatever. Don't feed in. Don't feed into none of that. If you know if you eat something and your body doesn't take to that, then don't do it.
Mm.
Also, well, too, it's your health, it's your body. If you know if you keep doing certain things, the shit it gets worse and worse and worse. You know what you have to do, and if you don't, you already know what you're gonna sign up for. It might be pre-diabetic, it might be diabetes, it might be whatever. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's your choice. It's your. I feel like we got so much good information and misinformation all feeding us at once. We
Yes.
get confused, and sometimes I'm not gonna lie to you, I get confused sometimes. I
That's real.
I get confused a lot. A lot of people say, "Oh, silk is bad for you," or "almond milk is bad for you." Look, I'm gonna tell you like this. When I know, like back in the day, like before we was even here, I feel like a lot of the meats and stuff like that. Yeah, they were a lot more pure. But
Yeah.
nowadays, we got to look you got to look at where we live in.
Yeah.
What world is there? Everything is so packaged and consumed and stuff like that. And like they got
Mm.
all these documentaries for a reason. You know what I
What
mean?
the
Like,
health?
yes,
Supersize me.
facts.
And then the guy also did one with all the chicken as well too.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of these documentaries and stuff like that, what I mean? Like, these are actually, this is proof. These are actually people, even some people are actually risking their lives, you know
yeah,
what I mean, even to bring in information because Big Brother Pharmaceutical, you know what I mean? Like, they
Dr.
don't want us
Sebi.
to know these things. Yeah, Dr. Sebi, what's the name? Rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. The same thing. Lisa Left Eye. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Sebi was curing everybody with elderberries. Now, if you look around now, you can go to Walgreens and CVS. You can find elderberries or sea moss everywhere. Like it's just you got to do your research, man. You got to do your research. Um, nobody's
Yeah.
on. Yeah, yeah. That's pretty much it.
Thank you for that, brother, because you made me think of something else I want to add before I wrap up too is the importance of checking the contents table in the back of your foods in the
Oh yeah,
label.
hold on. One more thing too. I watched Monique one time,
Yeah.
and she was saying, "Look, if you can't pronounce that fucking name,
Yeah.
don't put that shit in your body.
Yeah.
And if you can pronounce it, look at that. Like sometimes we get so caught up in counting calories and stuff like that. Just because the calorie is high
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really mean anything. But if you look in the back of that package and you see what's inside of it,
Yeah.
put that shit in your body. I even did a research one time, like America cereal, like Fruity Loops, and I looked up German cereal, the same brand. Did you know there's like so many artificial flavors in the Fruity Loops that's in America that's in Germany, and it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Because well,
It,
if there's stuff that has actually been banned in Europe, I don't know. I think it's MSG has been banned
yeah,
in Europe, and
yep,
out here it's still going on.
yeah, yeah,
So again, y'all, I know sometimes it's like this is tedious to do work and do all this stuff. Again, just take this information, digest it, no pun intended,
yep.
and just take time to implement it slowly. We're not saying do this as of right now, because again, like I said, I'm still guilty of times of eating foods where I know I shouldn't be eating. That's how I know my body tells me you messing up. So again, please do read the back of the labels too, because it's
I
important.
mean,
Because once you learn what some of these chemicals are in this food, you'll know why it's called genetically modified organisms of the food.
yep,
Because this stuff is made in a lab. Why would we have food made in a lab when you know naturally when you grow stuff, where is it? It's outside. It's nowhere
yep.
inside. So
And also stay away from anything that says seedless.
yeah,
Anything that shit says seedless is not good for you because you for something to grow, it has to come from a seed. And it took me a while to understand. I was eating seedless watermelon. What the fuck? And I looked that shit up and I was like, yo, what the fuck was I eating?
exactly. But again, this also goes to resources. So if you're in places what people will call food deserts, it is a little bit harder, as well as for folks to be like, but then that means I gotta buy organic and do all this stuff and it's more expensive. I get it. But that's where learning how to budget, and that's a whole nother different thing. Budgeting and managing your money is a whole nother different thing. But when there is a will, there is a way. So if
Facts.
you have that will and that power to want to have a better outlook for yourself, health, you're gonna find a way. So
Facts.
with that, y'all, this is my wrap up, and we out of here. So to wrap up, when it comes to current events, news that's happening, whether if it's worldly or right in your backyard, please take the time to know what's going on so that you can properly prepare yourself as well as your loved ones and those around you. So be aware of what's going on. 2, when it comes to fasting, the first thing is do your research. At least know when you're about to start fasting, where you should start with that. I personally recommend intermittent fasting, which you can start off very shortly with. Intermittent fasting is from 16 hours of a day, or you can even start with just 10 hours a day and lead that up to a point where you can do longer things of fasting. As well as I recommend, if you're going to do that type of fasting, again, I am not a doctor, I'm not a physician. This is just off of my own experiences, so don't take this for the gospel or the word. I would recommend doing a type of juicing or a type of, again, smaller portion of fasting for you to do that, to get ready with it. As well as when it comes to fasting, the main reason why you're doing that is to help with cleaning your body and giving your body a break from all of that solid foods that you're eating. So ultimately, take your time, do your research, and especially, again, if you do have different pre-existing conditions, as well as it's harder for you, you have things that's happened in your body, health conditions, please consult a doctor, consult a physician, again, so that you can do this properly to know what actually works for you. And lastly, when it comes to the importance of resetting your body, the main thing I want to say is with anything, technology, your phone, your body, water, anything else is around here, it's always great to have a restart to stuff. It's always great to get back and start afresh on things. A fresh new page when you're writing on your notebook. You don't want to write on scribbles and just all the dirt, it's crumbled and everything else on that piece of paper. You want to start afresh on a new page so then you can actually continue writing or drawing, whatever you end up doing. So the importance of resetting your body does that same thing. Your body gets reintroduced to how, again, things feel, how they taste, how they smell, how you see things, as well as how you listen to things. And when you do that, you not only at least improve upon or learn more about yourself and your body, you also learn more about, if you have a spiritual practice, more about whatever religion that you're doing, as well as the mental aspect is you start to learn how to critically think a lot more for yourself. You take information in, but you don't take it, all those words, and basically plagiarize it. You put it into your own words. So a reset is great for all of us. The Great Reset is what we call it too. The Great Reset. But with that, y'all, I see you in there, Reflection Era. Thank you, brother, for coming. I love you so much, my G. But we are finishing it out. Again, thanks to everybody that came through. Shouts out to Kundan, Criss, as well as Notes, a.k.a. Renotes, a.k.a. Sincerely Notes the Truth, a.k.a. Twitch streamer at the same time. If you want to, go follow that brother on Twitch stream, which your stream is called, your Twitch stream.
I am the Black Real Crimson. No, I'm sorry. I was right. I am the Black Real Crimson. I'll put it up right there. Abs, if you can do me a favor, G,
Mm-hmm.
if you can like make a little poster and just tag it for everybody, that'd be dope. If you can, I would really love that.
I'm on YouTube. It's basically just gonna be a link straight to your
You got it.
Twitch. So there it
Yep.
is there. As well as from all of these folks, we thank everyone for your time and being here with us on this Wednesday for What's the Word. But with that, we'll catch y'all next Wednesday for another installment of What's the Word Wednesdays. And again, as you're doing that, take time to be informed and love on yourselves if you haven't. Please do.
Facts.
But with
Wait,
that, y'all, what you got last thing? Go ahead. What
If
you always
anybody,
do.
if anybody wants to know like the pages that I follow of life for just healthy eating or just cool recipes and stuff like that, you guys feel free to add me on Instagram. I'll love to share all recipes that I can. Also, as well too, me and my fiance, we are going to be starting clean eating as well, eat a lot more. So we'll share our recipes as well too if you guys want that. Even we'll take pictures and I'll post stuff in the stories and I'll tell you guys how to cook them.
There it is, y'all. Again, I'm going to post all of the information here, and you'll have links to notes, Criss, as well as Kundan in this. But again,
Is there
y'all,
your after show? You going to sleep?
nah, I'm going to sleep, bro.
Hey, I
But
ain't
yeah,
gonna. I'm going to my save point right now, and I'm about to save. And I'm about to crash out too.
we peacing out. Again, optimize your health as much as you can. There's going to be days when you're going to have to, again, go out of the norm and you might go over what you're doing. That's why I say love on yourself, because this is all learning progress. That's what
Yeah,
life is you living in full existence and you're learning at the same time. So take those small steps, even if they're back steps, and just keep pushing forward. But with that, y'all, peace and one love. Until next episode, we will catch y'all. Peace.
please.